Welcome back, friends, to the Command Center. Again, live in wonderful and quite snowy Montreal, Canada. We don't get this sort of snow anymore in Europe, I'm not going to lie, and we'll see if we can warm it up here in MTL. Hello, I'm Ostomatic, and with me on the desk, we swapped them out, but they're still equally as beautiful as Demo and Extraturca in their own way. Mandy, good morning.
Good morning.
James, good morning.
It is a very good morning. I feel great today.
You know what makes it an even better morning? It's
What?
Mandy's birthday.
It's actually
Mandy's birthday.
I didn't know this.
So, chat, please, can you join me in singing Mandy a happy birthday?
Like this.
Happy birthday
Oh
to
my
you.
gosh.
We'll do it how the Germans, you know how the Germans say it?
I don't know.
No. Happy birthday to you, marmelade in shoe. It's like you have marmalade in your shoe, aprikose in the hose, you have apricots in your pants.
So is it birthdays in Germany just a way to troll people? Is that how it works?
Everything is a reason to troll people.
Well, I'm feeling trolled right now. Mandy, you didn't tell me it was your birthday?
I didn't tell anybody. I forgot it was my birthday.
She forgot until her
I forgot
mom
it was
called
my,
it.
and then my mom called.
You know what's really bad for me? Like, I'm your duo, and I went and I checked all of the players to see if any players had birthdays during SI, and I didn't check any of the talent. I didn't check my own duo.
Everybody asks, where's Mandy? Nobody asks, how's Mandy?
And whether it's her birthday.
Yes, that's another
That's
question.
tragic.
Anyways,
Oh, well.
that aside,
much.
we're going to introduce our team's happy birthday. Very happy to join us, our youngest member of the talent team. Take that, Demo and Hap. By the way, Hap, we hope you feel better in this moment. But here's our team face-off. Direwolves versus MNM Gaming. We're going to spend a bit more time on Direwolves because they did not get to play yesterday because, again, we have 5 teams in each group. And, well, that makes it a bit difficult math-wise to make it work for everybody to play in the same day. So let's introduce the squad. We have a video for that, even just like we did yesterday. So it's a good thing that for Direwolves, them being here, we have the APAC South commentators kind of fill us out this team and what they actually really can offer here at Invitational. It's the first Invitational. It's a pretty massive deal, is it not?
Yeah, it is. It's very exciting. I'm very keen for them to be back at the Invitational. They've had a pretty tough last few months as well, but I think for Direwolves, it's really the story of hope that I'm going with them. It's been rough with all their roster changes, with Edie going and doing his national service as well, but here they are, and it's miraculous. We're so proud of them.
Yeah, Direwolves have had a great year overall. Despite Elevate taking a lot of the limelight with their performances at SI and Berlin, Direwolves were the undisputed kings of APAC South. You know, they won that league, and they made it to 2 majors, which is more than Elevate can say. It was huge.
Pretty good, still making it through. And now, how is it like highlight players if you're just someone that has never watched APAC South, which you're making a big mistake if you don't. But there's something to look at for the players. And just to introduce them before we talk about them individually, I have a video just so you know who's who.
After you.
There it is, the Dire Wolves. We got 2 of them in this group. It's very easy to get confused. But let's see if they will be in a dire situation here. The spot, a lot of people are, pegging them as the 5th team, the one that would be eliminated from the group. But I want to understand more about this squad. So fill us in, Mandy.
So filling you in, they've had some big roster changes. They had Edie, who was their captain and their IGL, end up leaving the team to his national service in Taiwan. And they've decided to put in Harambe, who was previously a player. Then he became a coach, and now he's back to being a player again. And now he plays on that hard reach role for them. But he's not the sole IGL of the roster now because their leadership has changed. They've said that they make the calling between all 5 of them rather than relying on just one point of leadership. And I think it's a really interesting point for them. Not only that, but they've lost their star player in Reaps as well. So they've really had to build up their new front line and fragging power as well.
To fill us in on some of the happenings in Direwolves, sat down with them and asked them a few questions. Here's what they had to say.
好，我是郝狼狈，我在 Direwolves 中担任辅助位的位置。 们在 Group B 里面对上的是 MNM、Sonics、Wolves 跟 Team Liquid。我认为我们应该是全部的小组里面的死亡之组。他们在 Stage 3里面的成绩都非常的好。我们还是蛮希望能对上 Wolves 的，因为我们在 Stage 3的 Major 里面被他们击落过2次。我们想要 revenge。这次 SI 我们能准备的时间其实不多，加上 qualifier 前面的1个月的话，总共也不到2个月的时间让我们练习。对于这次的 SI， 我希望我们队能杀进季后赛里。那不管之后成果如何，我觉得以季后赛为目标，应该是对我们来说最重要的。我知道很多人不看好我们能进 SI， 但我明天给他们点难受。
Dire Wolves, a very underrated team here at the Invitational. They look to prove themselves against international competition, Mandy.
Yeah, they absolutely do. They've had a pretty turbulent last 2 months with the roster changes that have come through. Harambe just said in the interview they've really had only about 2 months, maybe less to prepare, even with the qualifiers coming through. And so they've really had to pull together their team to create this new leadership dynamic, this new set of comms that they've made. And I think it's made them into a really dynamic team since we last saw them at the Yeonchping Major.
Yeah, and the big player that has joined more recently, obviously Harambe, that was a more planned change with ED leaving for national service. But bringing in Ray, it was not planned. It was quite a surprise. Reaps was the star player, the best player in APAC South, one of the best players in APAC, but he left the team very suddenly. They had to go get Ray, who was their sub way back in the day. And it's not an ideal situation for Dire Wolves. As Harambe said, only had 2 months to work with this new roster.
How deep is their map pool?
Mandy, I know this is something you had a lot of opinion on.
Well, I think for the Dire Wolves, their map pool is pretty limited at the moment, right? They haven't had a whole lot of time to prepare, especially considering what they've gone through. And not only that, they're very vulnerable to counterpicking because not only were they at the last major, but they're also one of the teams that pushed through the last chance qualifier as well. So we've got a lot of BO3 data on this team. In fact, we've got at least 2 BO3s already on this roster. And that means that MNM have already gotten a pretty good look into what their map pool is.
And that was our Taiwanese team, Dire Wolves. On the other side, you mentioned MNM Gaming. Let's see what this team has on offer today, because let's be honest, they had a great opener to Invitational yesterday. They smashed through one set of Wolves. They're looking for the whole pack today.
Yeah, they beat Wolves. Now things get a bit dire. Okay, that one, yeah, don't mind me.
That was for free.
These guys have had a pretty cool year. They've made it to a couple of majors. They've failed to break out, though. They've been consistently there, but not consistently able to take that next step. However, the last couple of months have been a real uplift for them. You know, they came into the EUL finals as, I would say, the underdogs, and they took down Wolves 2-0. They did the same yesterday within their group, and I think they're now looking primed and ready with the return of Nathan. It has been a hell of a long time since Nathan was on this team. He's been on Na'Vi for a bit. He comes back, and he's bringing a lot to this team. He's helping them become a bit more well-rounded. He brings a lot of expertise, a lot of knowledge, a lot of strategy, and I think MNM are absolutely on the up, and this could be a breakout tournament for them.
So our map veto is ready. Let's bring it up on the screen for everybody to see. Again, a 9-map pool. It's 4 bans first, then the picks, then bans, then a reciter. First up is MNM, and they start on the attacking side of Kafe. Then Wolves pick Border. They start on the attack also, which leaves us with Oregon as a decider. Another Oregon for today. Mandy, thoughts?
Yeah, sounds pretty interesting to me. I think that generally both these teams have banned out their weaknesses once, and then they've also banned out the strongest map of the opposing team. So I think for MNM, banning out Skyscraper makes sense. That's Dire Wolves' probably strongest, most iconic map. For the Dire Wolves, taking out Chalet makes sense against MNM. I know that Dev as well, you've got a little bit more insight with your statistics and stuff.
Yeah, well, the interesting one for me is letting Border through from MNM and Dire Wolves picking it straight out of the gate. It is MNM's second most banned map in the last 5 months and of all time. You know, they haven't played it in 5 months, and the last time they played it, it was a 7-1 against them in Berlin to Furia. So I really hope that MNM have been working on Border. They were expecting to go here. Dire Wolves, with the new roster, have only played it that one time in the SI qualifiers, but that should be, I think, a good map for Dire Wolves. If MNM are prepped for it, though, I wouldn't count them out. MNM going to Kafe as well might not be their favorite map, but it's certainly a good one for them. And Dire Wolves have absolutely we have no information. They haven't played it in 5 months.
Final thoughts. Who wins? What score? All I need.
who wins, what's cool, and that's all you need.
Yes.
I think that recency bias, MNM should win. They have looked pretty good internationally across the year. They've got the new edition of Nave, so we're expecting some innovation in this server that would come out today. Not only that, but we're playing maps that we haven't seen them play in a little while as well. So I think Direwolves would be pretty surprised by what MNM bring into the lobby.
MNM should win, and it should be 2-0, but I'm prepared for an upset from Direwolves.
All right, our game is ready. You see the players have set themselves up. Now on to our casters. Nicholas Moritzen, you know him better as Pengu. Maybe you can ask Parker what it takes to call him next. See you in game.
I don't even get a last name. I'm like Madonna. I'm just Parker, and you're Nicholas Moritzen Pengu. You get 3 names. I get 1, just a single name.
But what does it take to call next? That is the question, right? And you have the answer, supposedly, to that question.
No, I was asking the questions. The people on the show... you know what? Never mind. We're getting underway with our very first matchup here on Stream B, Group B. And the team that had yesterday off, Direwolves, they said could be in somewhat dire circumstances, if you listen to the folks on the desk, might have their hands full against an MNM team that absolutely demolished Wolves yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think anyone is gonna, think all the teams are weak at this event in particular. I think this is like one of the highest levels of competition we've ever seen. I don't think that MNM will disrespect Direwolves, so to speak, or not show up in full force, because every single game matters here.
I mean, yesterday MNM played their game against Wolves, and it worked out very effectively for them. I don't want to be an APAC hater, but I think that in terms of international competition, Wolves are the more storied teams at these events, more storied team at this event, versus Direwolves, who just simply don't have the same experience level, and they don't have that roster that they want either. There's been a bit of a turbulent couple months for Direwolves, and the hope and salvation of this team seem to be Reaps, not on the squad anymore. You lose arguably one of your best players, and you get some subs to have to stand in at the last minute. That's an unfavorable spot for you to be in against any opponent, let alone a team that right now seems like world beaters in this group.
I think it's going to boil down to map 2, honestly. Which is going to be Border, right? It's a map which the desk spoke about MNM. They don't play it in the last 5 months. Last time they did, they lost against Furia. So if there is a place for Direwolves to really show up and prove what they can do, it would have to be in Border, but it's a best of 3. You need to win 2 out of 3 maps. It's going to be Kafe, then into Border, and finally we're going to Oregon. So not to be shown here, and the poll says 71% in favor of MNM to take it.
I'm actually kind of surprised with how much higher Direwolves is. I mean, yesterday in the matchup of DZ versus Heroic, it was about the same, which was surprising in and of itself. I'm not sure if people are aware of the recent roster struggles of Direwolves, but I mean, we haven't actually seen them in action. There are times where teams will run players or subs, or somebody will step off as a coach, and you'll have an extraordinary start to an event. It's entirely possible. These matches aren't played in theory. These matches aren't played in our heads. These matches are played in the actual matchup. Operator bans are rolling in on Kafe. This is MNM Gaming's map. So far, Jackal and Ying removed from action. Azami will follow, and one final defender will be taken out in just a matter of moments. Is this a suitable landscape in terms of bans for these teams, Nicholas?
I would like to see Direwolves take it with the Solace just because of how MNM played it so successfully against Wolves on Clubhouse yesterday. If not, there it is. Then I would say they haven't really done their full research here, because MNM, as far as I gather from day 1 of Invite, is that they are one of the most pro-efficient teams at playing this new Operator of Solace. So very happy to see them kind of pay their respects and recognizing that as well. And I would say the only kind of odd one out right now on the Operator ban table is going to be the Jackal. Kafe is not a roam-heavy map. You're not really going to be hunting around for prey around the map at all, typically at least. So Jackal is a bit of an odd one, but it can be argued, because if you are Direwolves and you want to play Pulse Below, for example, you will often find yourself quite isolated. A Jackal could be a thorn in your side if that was the scenario, but this also leaves Nuke open for the attacking side, which can do a similar job of hunting down those single roamers with the gadgetry, avoiding camera information, etc. The only real counter on the table right now is, of course, Harambe on the Pulse.
If you consider that operator bans are in many ways counter bans designed to flummox and confuse your opponents, well, Direwolves banned out the Jackal presumably because they're worried about MNM Gaming bringing out the Jackal. But I mean, yesterday, I don't even think MNM played a Jackal.
I don't believe so, no.
I can recall.
No.
Wolves banned 2 operators on attack yesterday because they only played 2 maps against MNM. In the very first game, Wolves didn't want to deal with a Nook on Chalet. And then on Clubhouse, Wolves didn't want to deal with Dokkaebi. And Dokkaebi was an operator that showed up a bunch on Chalet. So if you're Direwolves, why the Jackal pick? Are you just really worried that you're going to play, you know, maybe a very aggressive, very quick defense and a Jackal will thwart you perfectly? I mean, if you're looking at the way that Direwolves have to play this, I think unpredictability would be the name of the game against MNM, and Jackal definitely does hard counter that.
Speaking of unpredictability, I was informed by James from the desk that we just saw saying that Direwolves have not played Kafe in 9 months' time, so there is a lot of uncertainty for MNM, and I mean...
That's a disrespectful play by Solotov, by the way. Or sorry, by Pecan. Sorry.
Yeah, just walking out the door like that?
That was a disrespectful play by Pecan. I mean, I get it. I get it. I said unpredictability to be the name of the game. Okay, fine, but the door gets shot out and you're playing up against good international competition. Maybe don't dry peek the door with limited intel.
It's certainly risky, and I like this setup here from MNM. They got such a stable core foundation of information here, right? Dokkaebi, Knave on those calls, can hack the camera now with that opening kill. Solotov on this 0 to further ground a foundation of information on the map, similar to like Nomad for the staircases. You can kind of lock down areas, execute with the capital fire and the grenades. They can attack both from the window side that we see right now in the east, or go for regular hatch take. Nillo, he finds the 2nd kill in the round onto Souffle.
Now, for those of you that haven't followed along, Harambe and Ray are relatively new, quote-unquote, additions. Harambe obviously was a former player at one point, as was Ray, but neither have been on this squad for a while. Reaps and ED were the 2 players that you got to see most commonly, no longer with the squad. First kill for Direwolves comes out. It's Jackie Wu. Going for the swing on the Solotov, 0 down for the counter. Those Argus cams out, because if so, then 0 will still be providing tons of value. A second for Jackie Wu, as Nello, who'd gotten the kill before, is removed from action. Both players who got on the scoreboard for MNM are no more, but Uzis, will he meet the same fate as he's picked up a kill of his own? Pulse of Harambe down below as you hear that Dokkaebi absolutely pulverize Ray. Harambe doing some scouting work with the pulse sensor. Nice shot on the Tyrant. 2 more to be found. It's a nitro cell in his pocket. Nafe goes for the plant, gets off, and that should be it. But no, oh, he does get him. I was curious as to whether or not he was up top on the bar. Uzis just missing out on an opportunity here, but Sledge is only a 1 armor, or a 1 speed. He's in the hunt right now, and will engage, and it's an easy win for Harambe. He might not be a regular player on the team, but it doesn't matter. Well played by Direwolves to take the very first round.
It's a very scrappy round for both teams, and it really boils down to there was so many individual 1 versus 1s. I don't think we saw any kind of team-coordinated play, right? Opening div was Pecan peeking the door, Solotov wins that gunfight. Then you see 2, individual 1v1s from Jackie Wu, he wins those out. And the 1 versus 3 from MNM has to be cushioned, and Jack, also known as Fresh Analyst here, he has this like bingo card on his Twitter where he's like, MNM lose a 1vx, and then you can like check that off. And they did lose a 1vx yesterday as well, despite having a great performance with a 2-0 victory. But in the opening round against Direwolves, a top 4 attack of Kafe, they blunder at 1v3. They start plant, or well, rather, the first member goes downstairs into reading door before the plant starts getting started. He falls, then it's a 1v2. Then you know that's a post below with a C4. You plant on a desk that you can get C4'd from below, leaving you in a 1 versus 1, and then things fall apart. We gotta expect more from not just MNM in that circumstance, but frankly, any team that finds themselves in a 1v3 like that one should know what the right thing to do in that scenario, and that was not it. Direwolves capitalizes greatly off of it, and now can build themselves a bit of momentum here.
Setup still going on now as MNM will plot their way to attack this 2nd floor.
Attackers have recovered their defusers.
The one thing that happens when you're playing up against a team that you walk into thinking for sure you're going to beat is you end up with that confidence being a bit misplaced. Yep. I mean, BDS, I'm sure, against CAG yesterday went in thinking they were the favorites, and I imagine most of the community would probably agree. But again, these matches aren't played in theory, they're played in the flesh, in these servers. And anything can happen. CAG obviously upsetting BDS yesterday, the defending major champions from Yantreping.
Yep. And you can never underestimate your opponents in these scenarios, ever. So MNM make it slow down here, just kind of reset. Direwolves have changed up their approach from a more flexible multi-floor setup with information to the mirror windows on Harambe instead. So in the first 2 rounds, Harambe is the player to look at in terms of flexibility for the side of the Wolves, or the Direwolves rather. Key member in both rounds.
Nade goes out and he'll open up one of those castle barricades. I don't know what Nathan is waiting for, particularly just to possibly play off of himself. As he shoots out the castle barricade on the landing of White Stairs. There goes the window next to it, too. 2 separate players from Direwolves in close position. Ray collecting the kill onto Nafe. Not droning this out. Not getting good intel on that top floor. Allows Direwolves to punish this MNM squad. Mute Jammer will stop the Black Mirror on Cocktail Wall from being taken care of. Jackie Wu guarding over it. Jackie Wu was phenomenal in terms of shooting at the start of the round, and his run out from Ray after getting a kill ended by a Claymore. Suddenly MNM finding their mark with 2 big kills.
Yep, I mean, the double kill from Ray is massive, but then the overextension there, trying to get that 3rd kill in the round, a bit unnecessary. The setup strategically from Direwolves is great so far. They got the jammers in the right spots, the mirror windows, and they're playing passive off those strong positions. But when you're in the 3v3, things can get a bit dicey all of a sudden. The 3 flashbangs on Nello's back, or in his pocket rather, is the only piece of utility the attackers have to get any sort of way into this map. And Solotov spin that last soft breach charge on Ash. It's all down to 15 seconds of gunplay.
15 seconds to go.
Solotov close to the bomb site. Hunting them down. Logic bomb's going off. He just misses an opportunity. It's Jackie Wu to collect. Jackie Wu picks up yet another. And MNM are too slow to the punch. Direwolves block them at the onset. And as the diffuser goes down, well, it's a 1v1. Harambe gets the final kill yet again. Direwolves up 2-0.
It's a very close call again, right? If we see the timing work out differently between Solotov and Jackie when the top White Stairs, then, you know, Jackie doesn't get this initial kill, nor does he get the second. And all of a sudden, it means MNM, they're in a 3 versus 1, which they can then win because the last member of Harambe is up above with no real way to contest the bomb site and where they would be planting. Another one of those very small details that goes the wrong way for MNM and gives the round to Direwolves instead. 2-0 now for them. They're gonna work their way through the bomb side. Starting up top, going main floor, not going to the first floor. Not the basement, as I will keep preaching and learning about. Frost being brought out.
You speak American when you're in America, okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Even though we're not.
We're not, yeah.
We're not in America. You know what I mean.
I see.
You know what I mean.
Harambe bring out the Frost. I spoke of how he's bringing out like the most amount of like flexibility and like round-defining operators. This one I'm a little bit like, is this round-defining question mark? Because we don't see Frost being played in the first floor bomb site pretty much ever on Kafe. Now you do bring the bubble shield. You can, as you see here, on the coat window, the big window jump in as well, deny the entries from the attackers. But it's not typically where the attack will be coming from. Typically, at least from European North American teams, we go for a roam clear, right? You go up top, you clear all the floors down, you do a bit of verticality, then you hit the bump side. And looking at MNM, they have both the Bog and the Sledge and the Gridlock. This heavily kind of signals that they want to go for roam clear, get map control, do vertical damage control, and then hit the bomb site itself. That might make Harambe's Frost pick entirely useless in terms of gadgetry. But of course, you still have the Poison Shield, secondary shotgun, etc. You still get value in the setup phase.
Oh, immediate engagement, and down goes Jackie Wu. Solotov enters through red stairs and starts off the killing. Jackie Wu has been a thorn in the side, but there's Souffle to pick up 2. Again, MNM not expecting these unpredictable roams from Direwolves. Souffle could have had a 3rd over towards Reading Door. No way he goes for the run out here.
You can't get out, you gotta fight your way out, I guess.
Harambe comes in for backup. MNM are just getting beaten to the punch every single time they try to get into this building. Nathan Tyrant off the board. Not the start MNM wanted.
Drone ready.
Oh, they're gonna slow things down now instead. You figure out the whereabouts of Souffle, if he's still active on the roam or not. And I mean, I hate to say, but like maybe the Jackal ban actually is genius in hindsight, because with how aggressive you're playing and like hiding in corners right now, MNM gotta spend so much time and resources droning out every inch of the map to comfortably walk through. And that's all thanks to the Jackal ban. No Dokkaebi being played on I either, so can't do the phone call rings as well.
Nitro Cell goes off. Pecan still roaming from above. There's another Nitro Cell tossed out for good measure. Usus beheads Pecan. At least that's a bit for MNM. And now at close range, the Skeleton Key does the rest of the job. But Direwolves just roaming effortlessly, leaving Nello in a 1v2. Just under a minute to go. A flash onto White Stairs, but no drones, no intel. No wherewithal as to where either of these players from Direwolves are. Ray is playing very sheltered minutes at the moment. If Nello decides to go for a vault in towards Freezer, there's a frost mat underneath him. I don't think that's something that you quite expect. Instead, he'll open up a small part of this soft wall. Diffuser in hand, but at this point, with 15 seconds to go,
15 seconds left.
not able to get the plant down. Returning back to the bomb site, he knows there's one there. Nello will need to test his reflexes. There's one, a second lined up inside of Freezer, but he just runs away, and Nello can't make it work. He has no idea where he is, so he'll keep the clock running. But Souffle has all the time in the world to get back and seal the deal. Direwolves, 3-0 and a perfect rotation to start off defense.
It's a good look for them, really. And MNM now, I mean, yeah, there it is. Tactical timeout request here because we gotta turn this ship around. Things are not really working out for them at all. The aggressive roam not getting punished, third time in a row. And yeah, sure, Direwolves building a massive lead in the first minute of the round. It's still close, right? We're talking 1v1s, 1v2s, etc. It can really turn extremely quickly, but so far that early momentum is carrying Direwolves through these rounds effortlessly.
Now, the Jackal ban begins to make an awful lot more sense.
It does.
Now, how do you counter this if you're MNM? Well, you've got Lion at your disposal. You've got a Nook who can get into an area, drone it out very quickly, get the Nook inside. If there's nobody from Direwolves nearby, you're probably not going to get spotted. Dokkaebi has been a staple. That can help as well.
I would actually go as far as to say there's, instead of like a micro, like a macro, like there's two ways to typically break it apart, right? There's the structured version. Let's say you play Monty. You pick it out of the map, you just walk through it. Monty will get the information, you have guns behind him, pew pew pow, you clear the map. We've seen that at 28 Invitationals against EG, Penta EG, right? They pick Monty, you walk through the map, you clear it all out. Then there's the more chaotic approach, and that's what you mentioned, the Nook, right? You just start sneaking in your own players on the attacking side into the map, and you just battle the opponent in chaos. Like, I think Dokkaebi here could be fantastic to pick apart Direwolves, but I also think Monty, Flores, Nomad, for example, like Nilo's showing here as well, can also in a more stable version just kind of lock them out of their place, pick things apart slower, and then have more guns in the same area of the map, because what's happening is Direwolves, they will swing into a 1v2 and win it. What happens if MNM puts 3 guns in the same spot? Will they win the 1v3, or will they trade it out for a 1v1 instead? That's where I'm curious. But Direwolves, they're showing their own depths right now, right? They're doing Valkyrie, they're doing Pulse, they're doing Mirror, now they're doing Castle and the Maestro. So they're also playing aggressive some rounds, more intel heavy the next one. And even the Melusi being brought out, no one can sneak up staircases. So the Nook, perhaps in this case, might have been considered for them as a possible counter pick coming out from MNM. It's not the case, but it's a good thought to have.
Look at Direwolves' lineup right now, and you've got tons of information at your disposal. You've got Pulse, who will likely be the single most important operator in calling where this advance of MNM comes from. You've also got the Maestro cams of Jackie Wu. Those two will last long enough. There's no Twitch on the board for MNM. You've got explosives, I suppose. Both Naif and Solotov have explosives in their kits as Zofia and Ash, respectively. You've also got intel from Frostmats. I know a lot of people don't think that, but as much as it might be uncommon that somebody jumps into a frost map. Unless you happen to be a LATAM team yesterday, where they all were just frost map magnets. I don't know what was going on with that region. But there's still intel there, because somebody almost always will try to recover the player in that frost map. And then you've got Lucy Banshees as well. Every single gadget for Direwolves will give information as to the whereabouts of where MNM are or where they are coming from. And, oh no, just missed opportunity from Harambe. I think he did a tiny point of damage to Solotov, but certainly not enough to kill. Solotov now has free roam upstairs in Cigar.
It's also a matter of frustration right now. I mean, these gadgets they take time to deal with. The Cancer Barricades, the Maestro Evil Eyes, etc. And I mean, 2 minutes have not been burned. MNM, they've made progress into one room. Oh, there they go. Nave picks up a kill Pecan. A little bit of too much of a movement there from Direwolves. But again, if you sit still in the corner, these nades, they might just hit their marks and become free kills for them. Ray goes for a retake, gets the kill. Claymore trades it back from Nave, but it's a 3v3.
They're just trading out so frequently and so quickly with 50 seconds to go. At least half the server still upright. And Jackie will lose some of cover over top of him. This is the 4th bomb site on Kafe to get played. Direwolves are just burning through them.
Oh.
Cocktail is still open. There's a Nitro cell, by the way, and it's good enough to take out Solotov. MNM don't know what lies beneath. This Direwolves team, so electric at the moment. 20 seconds to go for MNM to get into the building. That's the struggle right now. Grenade goes out on the brown stairs, but MNM still have no information. A Banshee starts to make noise. Direwolves the opposite. They now know, and they find Tyrant because of it. But Nello's inside of the site. He has had these last dying moments to make things work. They know exactly where he is. It's a mad dash to get to him, and Harambe gets it done yet again. Good Lord, what is happening in this match? DW up 4-0.
In the last 3 rounds in a row, we've had someone from MNM, typically Nello, plant with 0 seconds left, and then the opposition just running in and taking him out. Sure, this time the diffuser actually went down, so you get a point for that, I suppose, in terms of like the statistics of planting, but the round for the 4th time in a row goes to Direwolves, and it's the same fashion every single time. Nothing's really truly changing in that scenario. They hold on early, and this time in they took all the time they needed. They kept all 5 members alive. They even got the opening pick, and then it falls apart again. They fall flat, and Direwolves, again, beautifully placed around the post below with the C4, gets a kill, 2 for 2 now. Then they play past the total bomb site. They drag down the timer to as far as they can, right? It hits 10 seconds in a 2v2. Chaos unfolds, then you plant on 0 seconds. It's a free win for the defenders if you can make it back to the bomb site in time, which they did. Full bomb site rotation, starting top, going reading, going kitchen, going mining, back to the top floor bomb site again.
Well, you've got the site rotation being Cocktail, reading, bakery, and then mining, and now Cocktail emerges yet again, but really, when it comes to these bomb sites, there's an embarrassment of riches for Direwolves. They can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because the issues that MNM are having right now don't change no matter what bomb site you go on. You'd think that attacking Bakery on that first floor would be the easiest. It's a relatively linear bomb site for some teams. You can pull off and execute without clearing out the top 2 floors. We've seen it happen time and time again. But MNM are trying to play into what Direwolves are doing now, and it's just not working.
No.
APAC are at their best when they are unpredictable and they are aggressive. They have extremely talented players and great mechanics, and that is showing off. And I think MNM might have come in thinking that Direwolves were going to roll over. It's not how it works. Don't ever sleep on an APAC team that has nothing to lose.
And I mean, I'm sure that a small factor to this as well is that Direwolves have not shown Kafe for 9 months. There's no real prep work that is relevant for MNM to really say, okay, what are we expecting from this? Like, I mean, sure, unpredictability, aggression, mechanical skill, whatever, classic APAC stuff, but they have no actual concrete visual information to kind of look at, be like, this is how Direwolves typically plays Kafe. That's not a thing. So you're going in completely blind, Jackalbang comes out, and now you're in this position where you're playing on their turf and you are unable to break it, and you're not forcing them to play under your rules instead. That's how you find yourself down 0-4. Now, it is Kafe attack. Things can quickly change on the side swap in 2 rounds from now, but if you go let's say, 6-0 up for Direwolves, I'm not sure it's going to matter all that much.
This is also MNM's map pick.
That is true.
So, while it might be 4-2 on one side, and we always say, it's predictable, that's exactly what we're looking for. When you factor in a team that might not be the most experienced on Kafe, and you look at a team that's playing with effectively 2 subs at an international event, a 4-2 for them on any half, on any map, is well below what I'm sure the expectations are for their opponents. I don't think MNM suspected that Direwolves were going to get 4 rounds on either of these maps, and yet here we are. Direwolves, currently under pressure with just under a minute to go, find themselves losing some of the floor, losing their black mirror, hearing a drone go off, and right into the waiting arms of Yuzis. Harambe does die.
That feels bad, man. Moment if you're Harambe. I mean, you're under fire, grenades, for terror drones, crossfire, rappel angles, etc. He's dead for sure. But again, the time, the clock, 25 seconds. Nave on the sky with the diffuser had to flashbang and just drop and pray for the best.
There's another drop, and that'll be sound that's heard by Direwolves. Nitro Cell goes off. It's not enough to shake Nafe off his position. Direwolves fighting back. There's Nafe down. The diffuser gets planted all the same. Jackie Wu, 2 kills. A 7th unobtainable. Solitov finds 2 of his own, leaving Pecan into a 1v3. Nice shot from Pecan onto the skylight. Absolutely obliterates Yuzis, but his luck runs out as he gets into a matchup head first against Solitov inside of Cigar. And MNM finally get on the board.
I mean, if Direwolves had a little bit more information there to know where the plant was going down, that could have been a round in their favor again once more, because they did have a C4 player. I believe it was Pecan on the Valkyrie actually before it came up white stairs, downstairs, and it did toss out his C4, but it missed the mark. It didn't know exactly where the plant was going down. Nave, he chose to plant not just right below the skylight, but along that long desk instead. And the reasoning for that is because you can see the post-plant position, so the diffuser case itself, from the skylight. That means that you are in the, like 100% the best location possible to kill anybody trying to defuse if there's a member on skylight, which they had, before Pecan took him out. Last members of MNM, they played post-plant from Cigar, and we saw what happened there. Great crossfire, Pecan swings, he loses the gunfight. MNM takes their first round on the board. And with all the options at their disposal, pretty much Direwolves, they say, we're gonna go downstairs to that kitchen bomb site instead. I mean, it worked out so greatly for them last time. And they're bringing out the mirror, the frost again. Pecan on the Goyo, because the time is running down every single time from MNM's side. Now to suspect that these mirror, there's one of them at least, on side. The second one, I'm curious if it's gonna be upstairs or if they're both down here. I only see one so far. I am curious.
I feel like you're salivating over this matchup. You're fascinated by it.
He has one in his pocket, right? But I'm like, where are you going? Because he's still down. Maybe he's just waiting. I respect it. You could technically...
You know, they say that patience is a virtue.
It is, but sometimes you just want it right now.
Good things come to those who wait, my friend.
Waiting we shall. And so Array, because he's still yet to put that down. MNM go for the same roam clear, but they're going to be much more cautious, I imagine, right? Drone out every inch. And Souffle in the same position. He's going to fall back early on. Not going to find the double kill this time around.
Almost all of these players on Direwolves have been formidable in 1v1s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even Pecan. Yeah, it was ultimately impactless, but still the performance of the tail end of the last round was as close to an act of heroics as you're going to find. Coincidentally, the other team that we'll be casting later today.
True, yeah.
Team Secret versus Heroic coming up. That's you and I. I mean, there's going to be an abundance of matches on this channel. So tune in. Halfway through this round, there's been a Nitro Cell that's already gone off. One player inside of Train is that Solitov just missing out. Souffle gets away and escapes back down to the main floor.
I mean, I might go as far as that. MNM, they look scared right now. No one is swinging, holding offensive angles. I mean, they're like, there's a guy in Train. Let's all not peek the guy and just hold passive angles. He escapes, he gets away. But the benefit here is for MNM, they have Bok and the Sledge. So the vertical floor here will get broken apart so quickly. The 1 minute 20 timer that they're working with actually is fine for them because of that fact.
Oh, absolutely. The defenders are going to lose whatever protection they may have above them. Direwolves usually very good with their nitro cells, almost gaining a kill per round with those explosive devices, have been wholly unsuccessful. Nave has been down on red stairs. There's a retrieval mission. Solotov watching, holding court. He'll go on the drones as their anti-flank in the track stingers that go up. Souffle will be the one under fire at the bottom of red, escapes over towards Small Bakery. MNM need to be very wary of this. All the while that they're destroying this floor on the second floor, the time is going down. Pecan decides to look upwards, maybe an engagement, maybe not. Ultimately loses to the newly reanimated Nave. Still sledging going on from above. The drop will need to happen. Nello holds on to the diffuser. Solotov taking down Ray, but Solotov's now been downed as he goes through the hatch. Harambe firing hopelessly through the smoke. There goes Jackie Wu. MNM though, not able to play it. Wait, Nello gets it at the last second, but you have to ensure Direwolves stop it. Good Lord, that was close, and they pull it off as it's a flawless round in the end. Nobody from MNM dies. They get downed, but not secured. That must have been a nanosecond between that diffuser getting planted.
Yeah. I am very positive that was like a 0 point something. I didn't think they were going to have it. I mean, Nello, at the very last fraction of a second, starts that 7-second plant timer. And thank God for that, because otherwise that would have been like a 1v5 clutch on time. You heard the player comes there, MNM, the spirits are high, saying let's get this comeback. They believe in it. They got the 2 rounds that they quote-unquote really desperately needed to have some room for mistakes now on the defensive side. And I'm curious to see how Direwolves are intending to pull apart these rounds, because I would say that they looked very well prepared for how they expected MNM to, you know, approach an attack. They might have a similar good read on them on how they're going to do their defensives.
Now let's do the first half recap for all of you. The scoreline is 4-2 for Direwolves. That one is immediately evident. Both teams on streaks to get to that point. Direwolves winning the first 4 rounds. After the 3rd round, MNM called their timeout. They're only allowed 1 per map, so that's it. MNM do not have a safety net underneath them. MNM ended up finding a bit of a recovery as the first half went on. Rounds 5 and 6 went into the column of marshmallows and Molotovs. They get the diffuser down. They get the opening pick. They do it on Cocktail and Bakery. MNM actually leading the way in terms of opening duels. They got it in either all 5 rounds or technically 4 rounds if you consider that one of those rounds was a trade. Direwolves only 1 uncontested first blood so far. This might be a quick one from Direwolves. So they aim to clear out the defenders that are playing over by reading. Logic bombs go off. There's a Lion on the board as well for good measure. But a clash emerges from MNM. And this one will be fascinating to watch.
I was gonna say, Nave's clash is... it's kind of iconic. He's one of the few players that are, as an IGL as well, who's happy to bring this particular operator. And it's hard to play Clash, not just as an individual player, but as a team, right? Because Clash, as an operator, doesn't do a whole lot without somebody behind her to assist and do damage with a gun. So the entire team now, or members of the team, had to play around this together. Oh.
An explosion goes off, but doesn't claim its intended target. Jackie Wu down below, hunting this Maestro. Now making some music with that LMG, that's for sure.
Sitting tight so far. No one's really taken any gunfights directly with one another. The Zero here bringing good information game, although almost jammed out to the floor. Stays alive for now. 1 minute 15 seconds left. Nello's gonna hold down below and train. I mean, I don't think he knows that he's actually safe right now. He thinks he's under fire. He's gonna stick around there for a while.
There's an Argus cam that goes off, gaining information. The unpredictability the Direwolves had on defense, much harder to do on attack. I don't know if Ray was looking for a jump in with the Dokkaebi or not, but he meets his death at the hands of Solotov, still from above. Putting the shield on his back, Nave pulls out the sidearm, down goes Jackie Wu, shield comes right back out. It's back to work. There's the flash, says Pecan, decides to repel on in. MNM sweeping through this Direwolves offense so far. 3 players from Direwolves all finding the end. Harambe's next one to go. Pecan guarantees that it won't be another flawless round for MNM. but he's got a tall task ahead of him. 4 separate players, and he'll be slowed down as well by the clash. Look at that, just almost fully immobilized. Dropped through laundry hatch and pulverized by Uzis. MNM 3 in a row, and they look far more confident on their very first defense than they did on most of their attacking rounds.
I agree, but I also say that Direwolves, they look less comfortable on their starting attacking round. I mean, the way they're playing on defense is everyone's kind of running around, doing their own thing in the roam, and that succeeded pretty much every single round but one. And now when you're the attacking side, the things are flipped. You don't have any freedom to move anywhere because as an attacker, you start with 0 map control, you spawn outside the building, you go to the roof of the cafe, then you work your way through and down, or down and through rather. So I'm curious to see if Direwolves can find like a stable way of approaching these rounds. Say this is our starting point, this is our end goal, and then work from A to B. Because in that previous round, they were everywhere and nowhere at the same time and never got any comfortable ground. And the moment they, kind of inched just a little bit forward, they lost 2 members immediately with no trades, no refrags or anything. And then you're playing 5 versus 3 against a clash. That's not going to bode well for you. They were hovering the Munty in the very first round. I think it was Ray on that particular operator. But they went off it with the attacker repick option 20 seconds or so later. I was curious if that was because of the clash that they saw. Maybe this round is the Echo because there's a counter picks to the Munty. I'm not sure. But not seeing the Munty, I'm happy to see a different GIGN operator in Twitch here to try and combat some of these pieces of utility from MNM.
Yeah, I mean, look at the operator lineup for MNM. If you can get within range of it, and not have to, maneuver around a tight door frame, etc., you got mute jammers. That will be the primary target for this Twitch. You've got 3 ADSs to deal with. You've got the Goyo canisters, which can get blown up by the Twitch drone. Yokais as well.
Dirty.
At least it wasn't the Twitch that died. A Nitro Cell gets ripped from Uzis, and down goes Jackie Wu. Jackie Wu, dare I say it, has been the most consistent player across the board for the team. But don't sleep on Harambe. Harambe's 7 kills, mostly coming in clutches at the tail end of rounds. Call him the trash man because he's always cleaning up.
Yep.
If you're a fan of basketball, you know what trash minutes are.
See, I don't watch enough sports for this. I'm very sorry. But I did appreciate the reference, even as a non-sports person.
You're very welcome.
Did he actually hit the drone? I didn't think he did.
It looked like he missed.
Yeah, I thought so too. Oh, he got it. Okay, no mind. We're just old. I was gonna say, he had a yokai during the spot like this. No way he missed, but you never know. This opening death from Direwolves really slowed things down, and Jackie Wu being the entry player, playing Iana, etc., it is gonna have this effect on the round, right? Souffle as a Twitch doesn't wanna risk dying. Ray on Dokkaebi doesn't wanna risk dying. And then you have 2 vertical players, both of which are very much needed, so we're just gonna take the cost of time due to this opening death and just have less time for the execute itself on this basement, or sorry, this kitchen attack rather.
Thank you for correcting yourself.
And I'm trying very hard. It's difficult.
These 4 rounds that Direwolves have put up against MNM is better than any single map that Wolves did against MNM over the last 3-4 months. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Certainly not me. And that's more so an indictment of Wolves, not necessarily Direwolves. I would have figured that Direwolves would have put up more than 3 rounds against MNM. Either way, Direwolves getting into the dying minutes. Dying moments, I suppose I should say. There's only 40 seconds left. It's Harambe watching from above. That buck in a very familiar spot. Nafe will engage with 1, but there's a nade that's going to come out, and he needs to be much more proficient with his shooting than what we saw Uzis. Finding a kill onto Souffle. Solotov taking out Ray. Direwolves barely able to get into the building. Pecan again denies a flawless round, but it's Harambe as last man standing. Direwolves in these last 3 rounds have only been able to muster 2 kills. Can they get a 3rd? No, they can't. Solotov seals the deal. Flawless round, and then it's a 4v0 and a 4v0 for MNM. Those are dominant holds and dominant results. And the last 3 rounds in particular have been mighty fine and more along the lines of what we come to expect from this MNM squad against almost any opponent. It's a tie game now, for what it's worth. And it's a timeout from Direwolves, maybe to try to settle the team down, as both teams winning 4 rounds in a row. 4 to start off the match for Direwolves, and now 4 for MNM to catch up.
I think Direwolves with this timeout has to talk about changes needed in these rounds, whether it's operators, playstyle, or the approach to the individual rounds, right? And especially losing members early and also progressing fast enough to have time to work with. What we just saw in the kitchen attack, they made what I would call like a classical mistake where they opt for a bakery attack instead of going for a hatch drop with only 20, 30 or so seconds left. It's not enough time to clear out bakery, waiting next to it, and then go through prep, then get the bomb down, maybe reach the wall. It doesn't work. And we saw MNM, and we see most regions and most teams from all of these regions just go for the hatch instead of dining. Just drop the hatch, go for kitchen execute. It's way faster, it's arguably easier, and you don't need to clear as many things on your checklist to achieve the same goal. And it just looks like Direwolves don't have like a very precise or coordinated plan of what they want to do. It looks a little bit like there are 2 or 3 voices with 2 or 3 different ideas, and then it's kind of like, I guess we're gonna do this one. And then there's just not enough time to get it done correctly. And in the desk second that we just heard before this map started, Mandy and James spoke about how they used to have a one-person IGL system, Direwolves that is, which is, you know, every team has been through this before. But now with these changes, they got like a 5-man IGL system. So all 5 members essentially are calling out what they see, ideas, and what they want to do in the round. And I'm sure that even though all 5 members are doing so, there's gonna be like one final voice who says this is going to be the plan. But I'm not seeing that these attacking rounds. I'm seeing a lot of, let's try this, see if it works, it does, what do we do now? Not quite sure. So get in the same page, one singular plan, follow that straight line, see where that takes you. Operator lineup-wise, we only see one change, no sledge on the board. We see Souffle on the Lion instead, trying to keep MNM stuck in their corners or stuck in their places. And seeing as they have both a pulse, a mirror, and a castle, this might actually work quite well for Direwolves because these are operators that all like to stand still in strong areas of the map, and the Lion charge can help capitalize if you have information and a way to act upon that information.
There goes the Lion on the run out from Solitov, but it's not caught, and he manages to get back in safely. Down goes Pecan. Uses under fire. Trapped over towards Laundry, and a nade will follow up from Jackie Wu, but MNM are long gone from that position.
Sensor deployed.
Nice gamble from MNM, and it immediately starts off the round on much better footing than they could have hoped for.
And you can tell that MNM had that like telegraphed out to the T, because the moment Post jumped out, a member of MNM ran towards the basement, I think it was Uses on the Valkyrie, opened up the garage door with him so he could get back in safety quickly. This wasn't a solo play from a Solotov just going for that crazy aggressive offensive play. No, this is him saying there's a guy repelling here, when a Lion charge comes out, I'm gonna jump out, someone please go basement and help escort me back. That means it's a 5 versus 4 instead of a 4 versus 4, and MNM, they keep the man count in their favor. That can be the difference maker in these kinds of rounds. And again, Direwolves fighting from behind, losing early man advantage again. Tyrant downstairs does not have a C4.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
He does have some vertical angles available to his disposal and a secondary shotgun if he needs it.
Bit of a calm before the storm.
Heartbeat sensor deployed.
Rambe will creep in towards white.
Oh.
Check for proximity sensors. And there's one there anyway. So he looked in the wrong part of the map. What more can you do?
It's tough.
Uses just continues to lose HP in these altercations, but not enough to get him into a grave. Jackie Wu, the drop on in, but swung by Tyrant, and now it's Nay from above. Souffle to stop another flawless round. Boy, oh boy, Direwolves have just completely fallen apart from what we saw out of them at the beginning of this map. Softening up Tyrant, and can't do anything else beyond that. MNM, 5 rounds in a row. A flawless, then they lose one, then they lose one, and then they lose none, and that's another flawless. Direwolves only able to get 2 kills in the last 4 rounds. That's not where you want to be, and I think this might have been what we expected of the MNM Direwolves matchup all along.
I mean, it speaks to Kafe and the nature of attack versus defense. Same goes for like Theme Park Villa, where there are just such a thing as you are either an attacker team or a defending team, and you will struggle on the side that you're not good at. And then, of course, when we talk about the best teams, like the absolute best teams in the world, they're strong, or neutral at least, on both sides. And that's how you start seeing matchups, you know, not just kind of flop on its head where we see Direwolves get 4 really impressive rounds of defense, and then they cannot buy a round on their attack. And MNM, they're not playing perfect Siege either. They're playing really good Siege, but there are gaps that Direwolves can expose, but they're not even getting into those positions because they keep losing that early member, and then they don't know where to go from there. It almost feels as if they need all 5 people alive to achieve their goal, and the moment that doesn't go their way, they're just kind of wandering around. I mean, we just saw a 4 versus 5. They're walking on basement, no drones, walks up white stairs single-handedly, no trade, no nothing. And if you win the gunfight, great, users dies. If you lose the gunfight, however, then you're playing 3 versus 5. Do that 2 or 3 times in a round, and then you're gonna start seeing these kind of flawless 1v5s happening for the defenders, because it's your job as an attacker to create the openings, not just find them, but if they're not given or represented to you, make them happen yourself. I like this aggression from Pecan. There's a drone at his feet as well. But are we hunting blindly or with an objective in mind? They're chasing ghosts.
They absolutely are. Pecan being guided up white stairs. The E1D goes off, but no targets are found. Watching the open hatch. MNM, as stoic as ever. Who blinks first? That's the real question. There's nobody really near the hatch, though. So Direwolves, again, as you said, hunting ghosts, apparitions, floating around the map.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good, and now we're just kind of stopping again. Now, there are members on soft floor. That is the struggle from below with grenades from MNM. Pecan could punish with the nades below.
Nade ready for Pecan. Ray getting the lead-off kill for Direwolves. That's what they need. And they need to start stitching these together. You've taken out one of the 2 top players for MNM. Down goes Ray, Nello follows. Jackie Wu, 2 of his own before Tyrant ends that rain. A flash will go in from Tyrant as he escapes towards the back of bar storage. Pecan running up, but it's Harambe to meet his fate at the hand of Nafe. Another EE1D goes out, all expended at this point. Souffle and Pecan to work together against Tyrant and Nafe. Still about half, just under half of the round to go.
Yeah.
Very quick, very early action right now. Direwolves did so well on defense when they played their game. MNM were not able to lay into them the way that they wanted. But now playing this slower game that MNM can often flourish in, even though they are a quick team more often than not, they catch Pecan sleeping. And now it's all down to Souffle. On Repel will swing in towards White, and it's all done from Tyrant. 3 kills for Direwolves in that round, significantly better than the last 5 rounds that we've witnessed, but still just not good enough. And after a 4-0 start to this matchup for Direwolves, MNM have won 6 in a row, and they sit on match point.
I was honestly really loving what I was seeing from Direwolves in the first minute and 20 or so seconds. I mean, once they're when they're moving, when they're actively doing something, it looks really good. But the moment they start either slowing down or standing still entirely, a lot of flaws represent themselves, right? I mean, in that 2 versus 2, why is Lion jumping out the white stairs window and walking outside the building doing nothing, and then Anna goes on a drone next to 2 enemies and dies while on drone? That is puzzling to me, but previously, with the pick apart the 5v5, they built the meta advantage, white window holo repel, Nate comes out, soft assertion from below, they get a trade going, and even a numbers advantage. That all looked fantastic for them, and then it just didn't any longer. It's a very small part of Direwolves' play they need to improve upon, but it's massively affecting them essentially in all of these rounds on their attacking side. And at this point, I worry if they just run out of juice for this one. Jackie Wu now gonna go into Nuke. That's gonna be an operator change rather for them. First time so far, but it's very late. It's match point, and now we're gonna just try and go off more individual play, lingering around looking for kills. MNM, they're gonna play that team style, just like Direwolves did in their defense, right? The Mira, the Maestro, the Goyo, information game across the board. Jackie would almost have to make a miracle happen this round to really justify the Nuke pick with how things have been going so far.
There go the logic bombs. Direwolves again very quickly into the building to clear out this top floor. Map on the line. Not to overuse the pun, but this isn't exactly dire for Direwolves. This is MNM's map pick. DW gave MNM quite a scare to start things off, but then it was business as usual for this European squad. Being able to claw it back. No amount of changing things up on operators, changing things up on entry, and a timeout could really stem the tides against DW.
Nello, he's like, this white stairs hold is mine. He's got a jammer, a beat boop, and like he's got everything locked there. Nello just seems on Kafe he picks a spot with Maisho, and he'll just play there with the LMG and just like stick around for the entirety of the round. And he mostly goes unpunished. Like Nello is a very stable anchor player in the UL.
Oh, Solotov on the run out yet again, and does it while the EE1D is active. Jackie, woo, slaughtered by Solotov down below.
Good night.
15 and 5, and Solotov is just continuing onward from what we saw yesterday. It's a bold move by Pecan to just charge headfirst into a black mirror. It does not work out. Direwolves with just 2 players left, not a single player from MNM in the grave. Harambe on rappel. Oh, he'll actually take down Nello and secure at the last second, again denying a flawless round. MNM have come so close to it. And Souffle sees Solotov, and down he goes at the hatch. But Souffle will need to win a 1v4 that is now a 1v3 in order to propel his team towards round 12. If not, MNM Gaming wins 7 rounds in a row and take their map. There's another E1D used. DMR packs quite a punch, so Souffle can get 2 shots onto his opponents. That's more than enough. But they watch him from above, and he gets taken out from multiple angles. Business as usual, indeed. MNM, what a triumphant second half of this matchup. Direwolves mustering just 7 kills over the final 6 rounds. That's not exactly the end of a map you want, but MNM are clearly awake.
Yep. I mean, and it's the first game of the day, right? Like, normally the issue for MNM is that the early game doesn't work for them. They fixed that problem, seemingly so. But Kafe, kind of going to this, but like Kafe is going to be a given. Border is the real question mark, in my opinion at least, as to how far can Direwolves take it, because this, of course, was the map pick of MNM. So I'm curious how that's going to fold out in a second.
Well, we have to recap this matchup, and then we want to get into Border, but we have commercials for you first. Don't touch that browser. We'll be right back.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
for Direwolves, that was an exciting start, but then that was pretty much it. And I mean, we can try to sugarcoat it as best as we want, but ultimately those final 7 rounds, let's be charitable, let's say the final 6 rounds for GW fell probably well short of their own expectations in that matchup, only being able to muster 6 kills over those 7 rounds.
Yeah, it was not a good look, to be honest, when Direwolves went to the attacking side, but defense looked great for them. So the first half, stellar. Second half, can do better.
There were 2 flawless rounds by MNM, and then 2 more that also could have been flawless rounds.
Yeah.
So, where do you go from here if you're Direwolves? Well, you go to border.
I was going to say, you just go border, you go next. I don't think you're going to think about Kafe. I don't think you want to think about Kafe. And honestly, the way border plays out as a map is nothing like Kafe either, right? But both attack and defense, I think Direwolves will thrive more on this particular map.
I mean, it really depends on what we see Direwolves play like. When they were on Kafe, they excelled on defense because they played so unpredictably. MNM were not expecting a full top floor hold on every single bomb site, basically. They wanted to take both the hatches, go after Bakery. It's an easy clear on that top floor. But guess what? There's 2 Direwolves players sitting right under the hatch. If you play this game in ranked, the words you would say after most of those deaths are, why are you there?
Yeah. I was going to muster out something else, but very similar, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's probably something that you can't say on television.
Nope.
But you would say, why are you there? Why are you dry peeking a hatch? And I mean, we knew that that was the tempo that they were going to set when immediately Pecan dies in the first moments of the round by deciding to swing onto the main door with a player of MNM sitting just outside of, what, the APC or whatever you'd like to call it, whatever vehicle it is. I'm not American. I suppose Russian, but I don't know. I don't know these weapons.
We just call them cars, essentially, right?
Well, it's not a car.
It's not, but
it's armored vehicle.
Gamers are very simplified people. It's a car that's 4 wheels, boom, boom, car, bam.
Of course.
Yeah.
Either way, MNM carried by the strengths of both Yuzis as well as Solotov. Solotov and Yuzis have been 2 of the most consistent performers in all international events that they've competed in. In fact, Yuzis is one of the highest rated players in all live events over the last year. And while it's been the Solotov show for the last day and a half at this point, there's still plenty of time for Yuzis to catch up.
Yeah. But also, it's a team effort as well for me. It's not just Yuzis or Solotov in this case. Everyone's working together.
You pulled the words out of my mouth.
Great.
And then you put them in your own mouth, and then you spat them out.
And I'll take full credit for what I said. You don't get those cookie points.
I apologize. These are the stats for you, by the way. When we were talking about it being the Solotov show, 16-6, 5-0 on entry.
I mean, the big one's the 5-0 entry, because that's 5 rounds where you play 5 versus 4 advantage. You know, that is a significant lead to have. And then you have Pecan going 0-4. You know, that could be 5 or 4 of those 5 kills, 4 opening kills, could just be Pecan's Solotov, essentially.
Harambe's not even a player on the team.
He did great.
Harambe and Ray came onto this team to patch the holes that Direwolves suddenly found themselves needing to plug. And Harambe was the one who ultimately ended up at the top. Now, I will qualify this and say that the majority of Harambe's kills came in those first 4 rounds.
Yes.
And they did come in clutch moments.
Yeah.
But they came playing those sheltered, late, anchor, save-the-day style moments, which is huge because there's 2 rounds in particular of those 4 that you can directly credit Harambe for winning. And if you have a player on your team who can single-handedly win you 2 rounds, that's massive.
It is.
That's huge.
I mean, we always make the joke about you can have 2 kills, you can have 10 kills, but if it's 2 1 versus 1s, that's 2 entire rounds. You can have 10 kills in like a 1v5, you get 2 or 3 picks a couple of times, and that's it, right? Valueless kills.
I mean, look at Direwolves, for example. Those last couple rounds, as we head into border, by the way. Look at Direwolves. Okay, those last 6 rounds or whatever, they actually got 7 kills in 7 rounds. My math was off. But how many 1v4s did they end up in?
Yeah.
You kill 3 people, you lose the 1v1, but you do that 3 times, you're going 9-3 over those 3 rounds. And that looks great, but ultimately, maybe you're baiting, maybe you're lurking, maybe you're not playing your role correctly. There's a lot of variables in it, but you can just look and say, okay, well, they went 9-3, they must have been so good. When in all reality, the person who went 2-3, but 1 rounds with those 2 1v1s, infinitely more valuable. That's when we talk about exit kills. That's when we talk about impactless kills. because not all kills are equal. Anyway, Nick, Border, operator bans rolling in, and we've already got some familiar faces being removed from play.
Yeah, we have, but a bit of a change up here because this time around it is going to be Direwolves spanning out the Asami, which leaves Solus open. MNM, they opt for the Mossy ban, which is specific to Direwolves themselves, I believe, because Mossy is not a staple border ban by any means, and quite frankly, Mossy doesn't really get banned at all throughout any.
Oh god, I can't remember the last time I saw.
I mean, there was a Mossy meta way back when he had the secondary shotgun or bulletproof weapon.
May I finish?
Oh, you go.
May I finish?
Yeah, you go. Sorry.
I cannot remember the last time I casted a match, or even we casted a match, where Mossy was banned.
No, it's that long ago. It is.
See?
Yeah. Two different ways to look at it. A lot of nerves happened to this operator because when he first came out, he was rather strong. Played very commonly, paired with Mute. Where nowadays you see a lot of Mute without the Mossy instead. Duck, an operator that was played a bunch way back in year 1 of the game's meta. Didn't see that much play in the last 2 years or so, but then with that buff where the Duck stims heal you to full, even from an injured state, essentially, has now brought some life back into this particular operator. The Bailiff secondary shotgun, of course, can help you make rotations in the prep phase. That goes a long way. And a bulletproof camera as well. Quite the versatile operator indeed. Let's not forget the 1.5x scope that ranked players and some gunners in pro play loves to bring. Any excuse to play that kind of scope and you'll take it.
I think these first couple rounds here for Direwolves will be crucial. MNM opting to go onto defense first. Direwolves pick this map, so MNM picks the side. We're still only a day in and only 8 matches technically into this event. I'm curious to see what the stats for Border will be after today. Does it skew defender-sided? Does it skew attacker-sided? Kafe that we just saw was outstandingly defender-sided.
Oh yeah.
But then the theme park that we saw last night that you and I casted between DZ and Heroic was incredibly attacker-sided. So sometimes things change. Utility being used from Direwolves now as we're past the 1 minute mark. Top of East is the main focus. Nafe under fire. Scoots back down to the bomb site. Be very careful because teams can take East and then lobby very quickly, and if you're not watching for that entry and you're not establishing crossfires, you can lose control of that part of the map very quickly. Oh my. Uzis gets pounced upon. Nice coordination by Direwolves to get the lead-off pick in this map, the lead-off pick in this round.
Not just that, but also MNM, there's no one anywhere remotely close to Uzis' position, so he's completely isolated. It's a good punishment from them. Yellow pings come out, information's on the board for Direwolves, and so with the timing, he misses a free kill.
Oh, Pecan softening up Solotov as he gets away, almost to the point where he would die from running through a wall. Or if he'd already run through a wall, might have been enough for him to perish. First member of DW in the ground, it's Pecan. Dave heads back to the bomb site. A man on a mission. Solotov will get some calls from the pulse of Nello. Right now inside of security, or just below security rather, watching it.
He could flank this if they see this last member 90 walking away. Can retake top floor with the Oryx. It's that rare scenario, it might just pay off.
Oh, and there we go. A jump up. Solotov will look to exploit whatever anti-flank that does not exist from Direwolves. But there's a collision course. No, he looks away at the last second. They pass each other like 2 ships in the night. Solotov downing the sledge, but not able to secure. Direwolves get them in the clutch. Nitro Cell goes off. It's good enough for a single kill onto Jackie Wu. That was the downed player from Direwolves. Nick, this prolonged action. Harambe's got Diffuser, safely planting it. And DW looking far more confident already than they did on Kafe on any of their attacks. Nafe is the last man standing, and if he goes for the drop, they'll hear it. Can he stop Harambe at the last second? No, he can't. Souffle up top. That's the insurance policy. And while you've got one planting the diffuser, you've got another watching. Gonna have that third be wherever they want. Direwolves starting off Border with a round victory, and it will not be 8 rounds in a row for MNM.
It was an extremely cursed round in terms of timing. I mean, the Solotov had 2 instances himself. Souffle and Lion had 2 instances as well, where like the moment they look away, someone like leaves their crosshair, like just at the edge of their scope, they don't see the opponent, etc. And then at the very end, with 8 seconds left, I mean, they're chasing the planter. DW, they change the plant position. Souffle catches on top floor from 90 to the long hallway towards east stairs and gets that final kill. And with that round not working out for MNM, they're gonna change their bomb site preference rotation around. Starting in Tellers is not super typical. Armory is second on the menu instead. Operator lineup is very similar. There are some differences though. We do have the Warden to combat any smokes or flashbangs. We do have Tyrant actually giving his run at the Solace Operator. If you watched the game yesterday from MNM, it was Solotov who played Solace exclusively on Clubhouse against Wolves.
I did watch that game.
Oh, I think you... Oh, you cast it too actually. It was a very great game.
But it did?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, because I was there. That means you were there.
Oh.
Yeah. That's, I always know where you are if I'm somewhere because we just happen to be there together every single time.
That's very coincidental, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Sometimes that's how it goes.
Funny how that works.
Yeah.
Very, very funny.
Speaking of people who aren't where they're supposed to be, I hope you feel better, Hap, because Hap, he has fallen ill, I believe, today. He made a tweet. So, Emmy and I think Demo are working together today instead.
Now that is a throwback.
Yeah, it is a throwback, yeah.
See, for those that aren't aware, Hap and I have a public relationship where we hate each other's guts.
Okay.
It's actually very one-sided. I jokingly hate Hap, and I always make fun of him all the time. So what I'm about to say is very rare.
I'm reloading.
I hope you feel better, Hap.
Clip it, save it, ship it, and use it against Parker in every single instance you can have because that is not one you're going to hear many times in the future.
Just honestly a really nice guy, but I will say that Fluke and Demo used to be a duo way, way back in the day, and I always thought it was very enjoyable to listen to, so it'll be good to have that little throwback in front of us. There was actually a period of time where you had food poisoning that I almost ended up casting with Jesse on the first day because we didn't know if you were going to be good to go either.
Oh, that is true. And as good colleagues as we are, we just make it work. We pair people together that might have the magic or might find the magic together, and sometimes it's a throwback, sometimes it's the new people you cast with.
I mean, I casted a grand final in Mexico through food poisoning.
Oh
so
yeah, oh boy.
I might have had blue cover for me a couple times, but that's it. Either way, not a lot of action that's here. You might be wondering. F.
F indeed.
Not sure how Pecan blew himself up with that one, whether it was just a misplay or not, but look at Yuzis coming to his teammate's rescue. Harambe is there for added measure. Solotov in on the fun as well. Direwolves with a single kill. The pre-fire from Harambe, but there's 2 separate sets of bullet tracers to go in. Now Jackie Wu, last man standing. He knows where his targets are, or at least where 2 of the targets are. The other 2 seem to escape him for now. Nice pick on the Solotov. Doesn't understand that the rotate is coming back into break room. No, swing and a miss, quite literally. Jackie Wu fails to take out the wall.
Oh, he just looked. Oh, I was gonna say he looked at the camera.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in. 20 seconds left. Jackie Wu looking for the last 3 players on MNM. He'll find them, just won't be able to kill them. He doesn't actually see Nafe at all. Does MNM answer back? We tie the game.
Nave joining MNM has actually been a very good look for them, especially in terms of their map pool. It's something that the analysts, in our green room with talent's been talking about, where Nave came from Na'Vi, who had a different map pool than that of MNM. And when you come from one team to another, you have this thing that's called, Control-C, Control-V when it comes to map strats and whatnot. And it can really help elevate teams' like their map pool, essentially, like how many maps they can play and in how many different ways they can play them. It's always interesting to see because MNM typically don't play Border, for example. They don't play Bank. With Nave on this roster, well, they're playing Border right now, and I would not bet money on this because that shouldn't be the case, but I'm pretty certain they could also play Bank now because Nave has Conference that used to play quite well from Na'Vi. 1-1 so far, nothing's decided. So MNM defense on Border, DW on attack, and we've seen Tellers into Armory, now into Ventilation. Now all these bomb sites on Border, they play out rather differently. The one thing they have in common, you always, no matter what bomb site you're playing on, want to have control of the top floor. Obviously, if you're an Armory, that's what the bomb site is. That's a no-brainer. But if you're playing ventilation, up above, verticality. If you're playing tellers, go up above, verticality. What MNM are not showing right now, they're not really playing much above. They're playing horizontally so far, playing customs and kite claws, denying the entry breaches, etc. Extending also to the east side here, in towards bathroom and teller side. So it's a different kind of take on this classical defense that might actually catch Direwolves off guard.
Scanning for electronic devices. Reload!
Information again being brought by MNM. Valcams and a pulse sensor will be on the board. Immediately, Tyrant has found one player, and it happens to be an IQ. This will be a nice game of rock, paper, scissors between the two of them, or I suppose cat and mouse, etc. Souffle, first one to take some damage on Direwolves. Pecan will vault right into the waiting arms of Solotov, blinded completely, but he has the drop onto the hatch. Played well by MNM. They do surrender that part of the map upstairs in security, but they get a pick for their trouble, and it's the Yana that goes down.
No secondary EMPs or Thatcher from Direwolves means they can't open up any of these walls because of the kite claws, and even if they get top wall control, they can't really get the hatches either unless they were to get soft destruction like the secondary soft breaches or grenades, which they have none of right now because Pecan fell early to the entry death rather. So, bit of a tough position to be in. Direwolves, it does not look like they were fully prepared for this strategically speaking, because right now they don't have a clear goal in mind, it looks like. Not a clear path. On all this information, DC4s, they could get very deadly from below.
Oh, Nave looked for the Nitro cell, but got baited into it, and Jackie Wu takes him out, missing the Gone 6. A second kill for Jackie Wu as he gets out of dodge with his life still intact. Have his HP down. Now it's Nello to fall next for MNM. Souffle on a single point of HP, and Jackie Wu is a bullet or two away from the grave. It's doable for MNM, but it's tough. Another round that Solotov will use Oryx's ability to jump up through a hatch. And a potential retake is there. He'll get spotted by the Lion before repositioning towards the armory door. Ray taking out Tyrant means it's Solotov in a 1v2. But again, Souffle is on a single point of HP. Ray, fully HP.
And he has Diffuser as well. I mean, he can let them come to him. He can go below. 25 seconds left. Tons of options for Solotov here on the table.
No information for DW. They might have a single drone available, but Solotov is going to have to line them both up. There goes Souffle, but he can't engage on Ray. He thought they'd be coming from different angles, but the call was wrong. Direwolves winning in the early round, and that momentum and that numbers advantage just carried through to the bitter end, giving them their second round. Neither team winning more than one in a row, but DW does regain the lead.
I mean, that entire round essentially is won from DW because of Jackie Wu. He jumped in towards the bomb set window of ventilation, gets 2 kills, and casually jumps out again. And sure, it comes down to a 1 versus 1, Diffuser dropped upstairs, etc. It's a bit messy, but it looked like it was a completely lost round because strategically MNM had a really good read on what they wanted to do. DW did not. Sometimes a hero play can send you right back into a winnable position, and that was all thanks to Jackie Wu in that round on Buck. It's always, since the introduction to the secondary, the Gone 6, the sidearm essentially, it's always awkward that somebody gets an injure, a down but an out, and you go for a secondary pistol swap, and it's a Gun 6, you either miss or you get the... It's like, and it happened with Jackie with that round, where he has the Buck gadget, you can just like use the shells, get the kill finish, but everyone is so used to just go for the pistol sidearm and get the finish, run away. You're fast with a pistol in your hands. But we do see time and time again those Gun 6s being just like tossed in the most absurd and weird scenarios possible. And that was one of them.
I know that it's not it, but I always think those castle barricades from above with the like the dog head on it looks like one of the Goyo canisters been put on it. And I remember the very first time I ever saw it, I was like, why is somebody putting a Goyo canister on the castle barricade?
I think
it's the Castle Elite skin.
Ah, there it is, yeah. I think I saw a Reddit post explain a similar situation. People are like, why is, like, what is this? And like, oh, it's the Elite skin. Yeah, that makes sense.
Got activated. Come on out, Chief.
It can be a little confusing.
Sensor activated.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Bomb site rotation so far for MNM. Teller's bathrooms down below. Armory up top. Vent down below as well. Nice shot from Solotov. He gets away and now uses in on the fun. Two separate players from MNM finding the scoreboard, and Ray and Pecan are as good as gone. Pecan has had some serious struggles. It's staying alive, which is very bad because Pecan is almost always on one of those entry roles. That means Soufflé and Jackie have to do even more of the heavy lifting.
He also always plays the only set of grenades as well, so utility-wise, a massive loss to lose him early in the round because he never gets to use them, really.
Jackie Wu will drone himself in at this point. Still 2 drones available for Soufflé, so information for Dire Wolves, if they want to use it, is available over the remaining half of this round. But where do you go next?
You gotta clear out the top floor as they are right now. Then you get a head control, bit of verticality of course, but the timing again, it's crazy.
Oh, use this just on the wrong side of the timing equation. He at least gets the pick onto Harambe. That's the ace down. You don't have to worry about any more hard breach. Jackie knows that there's one down below, but has given his position away still upstairs. They must have known that the Buck was playing in the spot because of all of the noise and carnage that was happening at the hands of that skeleton key. Soufflé as Ash drops on down, has diffuser in hands, but Tyrant is prepared for that. Posted up and looking longingly towards the bomb site. Now it's all up to Jackie Wu, and he doesn't go anywhere.
I cannot see the dodges, I can only hold the push. I don't know how did the guy, I see for the guy as well. The guy just not there.
Always nice to listen into the player comms at the end of the round. MNM locking down that top floor, and I like how after they had Solotov holding the position that he did, they fell off of Armory Wall, retreated to the other side upstairs. They used the castle barricades to effectively cleave the top half of the map, and then play safely in the back portion, allowing Dire Wolves to take Office, to take Fountain, but East was still held by MNM.
I mean, that's the thing that MNM is doing so well on Border so far, is that they're, and you touched upon it, they're really good at kind of choosing when they want to give something up. Sometimes when they get a kill, they say, okay, we got a kill in this first room, let's play the second room now, fall back one area. And other times, you see Solotov just kind of fall back when he's under too much pressure because the risk versus reward isn't worth it. He's sitting thinking, if I stay, I'm probably just gonna die, then we're playing 4 versus 5. I'm gonna then sacrifice and give up this area of the map, give Dire Wolves time on the clock, but not give them over, or surrender rather, a kill for them. So strategically, MNM, they're showing a very good read on how they want to approach this as a team. That last round, like definitely in that previous round.
I will say the fact that this is back and forth, far better opportunity for Dire Wolves than we have seen presented during the latter half of Kafe.
It's looking a lot better for sure. I do think that, as she's mentioned, Pecan, that's kind of where my eyes are at. So he needs to get something going for him. Or, what you could do for DW, change your operator lineup so that Pecan plays maybe the Twitch instead, the Lion, the Dokubi, etc. Get someone else on the entry operator with that set of grenades, because right now, unless Jackie would play Sledge, you don't really have any grenades to spare or to spend, because Pecan is usually just dead with them in his pocket. So small change could go a long way here for them, but so far, keeping things the same.
Yeah, it's a bit curious to me that you keep using somebody who consistently dies in these opening duels, but haven't even considered maybe swapping up these roles. I get it. You have Ray and Harambe come onto the team.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to swap these roles up. You had Reaps, who is on entries, no longer on the squad. That necessitates a change in and of itself.
You are correct. It's not the perfect circumstance to be in. Making the most out of it right now. I do like the second grenade set on Jackie on the Sledge here, just to give a little bit more of an opportunity to get those kills. Solotov, the big problem right now inside of CTTV is holding on, because as long as he doesn't get, under too much pressure, he sees no reason to fall away from this position.
He's a little bit too high up, but he reads into it, and down goes Soufflé. The Twitch drones have already provided so much value. But the smoke just ended up being a smoke screen. Pecan knows where Solotov is playing. Continuing the success that we've seen at Solotov, 8 kills. We have 16 in the previous map, so 24 in total. Could find yet another. Is he as good of a shot as he thinks he is? He's going to get slow peeked. And Pecan wins the engagement, as do 2 other players from Direwolves. They topple these defenders of MNM, and now the diffuser goes down, but Nafe is there, catching out on the Pecan. Nafe can't go for the drop. He gets jumped on by the sledge. It's all up to Tyrant inside of Office, but he's going to need to look after the sledge on the left. Can't do it. Jackie Wu secures the kill. Yet again, no team can win more than a single round before surrendering it to their opponents. It's a seesaw that sets us up in the 6th and final round of this first half, with Direwolves on top 3-2.
And we speak a lot about how MNM they are strategically playing these rounds extremely well, and what we just saw there was actually the opposite of that, right? Solotov, maybe a little bit overconfident, is kind of toying with the opponents, right? Going for re-peaks constantly, applying pressure, etc. Could have fallen back through the 90 rotate. He had a safe escort in his teammate, but he wanted to challenge Ayana, Pecan on that 1 versus 1. And you and I are talking about how Pecan, 1 and 4, not really getting things done, dying early. He stayed alive, used both grenades, won the gun battle against Solotov, and opened up things on that side of the map. And at the same time, there was an archive sandwich window execute for the other members of DW, and they won all 3 gunfights in the span of 2 seconds and got full bomb site control. And then that plant started getting established inside of Armory. So well done to them. The one time MNM does not fall back and sacrifice the map, area of the map that they need, that's when they get punished. 3-2 final defense. Solotov is kind of playing a couple of different operators right now. Doc mostly, non-Valkyrie instead. Tyrant actually playing the Ella. Might help catch any members of Direwolves coming up a staircase, going in a window, in a door, etc. because they are just kind of creeping around in that previous round.
I think this actually is a good position for Direwolves to be in.
Certainly.
Kafe and Border are not the same map, but the unpredictability that we saw by this Direwolves squad. Now, it might be a little bit more challenging on a map like Border. It's not as big of a map, and it's not as vertical of a map, so you can... I honestly believe that MNM can get away with not sufficiently droning out portions of this map the way that you cannot get away with that on Kafe. But I still think Direwolves will have the upper hand if they can translate the play that they did on Kafe. Oh. Hey, nice shot by Pecan. Stunned out, but still beheads Tyrant and grabs another for his trouble on the Solotov. We were critical of his play, but it doesn't really matter. He proves us wrong. 2 kills from MNM in quick succession. It's 3v3. Oh, Nello sees him, cannot connect. And he needs to control this Alda as the flashes go out. A drone will now come in and lay at his feet. Pecan taking damage from somewhere else entirely. And out comes a grenade, but Nello reads into that one correctly. The wall bucked open. Jackie Wu continues his streak from what we saw in the previous round, being as dangerous as ever. Maybe a brief pause, Nick, so we're only halfway through the round and
yeah.
4 players left.
I think it's time that we slow things down though for DW, right? You gotta figure out where are these last 2 remaining defenders, what do we have to work with? We have full top floor control that we care about, Armory Archives. The issue is, it's the Ace above and Bok below. You're gonna kinda, in an ideal world, flip these positions because Ace has a very limited vertical destruction. Thankfully, some has been done for him already, so they can work with this. But the second problem is, it's Harambe on the Ace who has Diffuser. He has to get downstairs to like progress in this round. Planting in a 2v2, essentially it's a 1v2. It's not gonna be easy. You wanna look for 1 kill, make it a 2v1, then go for the plant.
Oh, Usus outduels Harambe. It leaves Jackie Wu to clutch the round for his team. Doesn't hold the diffuser, so kills will be the name of the game. A shotgun at close range from Nafe. The Storm in the hands of Usus. There goes some intel. Jackie Wu spotted 1, but will try to get to him. Can't do it. Nafe has the cross. It happened. That whole first half in the books. No team winning more than a single round in a row. 3-3 the scoreline. Side half swap, but given what we saw out of the first half on Kafe and what we saw out of Direwolves on defense, I think this is a very good position for Direwolves to be in based on the matchup we've seen so far.
No, I fully agree. I think this is a spectacular position for him to be in. And also, in the last 2 rounds, Pecan, like the arguably only member of DW not really being fully present on the scoreboard with the impact in the rounds, he really stepped up. And it looks like it has just shifted. He's now here, he's playing Capcan, playing those explosive operators once more. Has both the C4 and the Capcan traps themselves. Pog mats all being put into work here. Whenever I hear a player, not every time, but sometimes when I hear a player comes, as we just did with MNM the last 2 rounds, I think a lot of fans, they're always thinking, professional comms, they got it like very clean and crisp. And then you hear a player comes being like, what the, word, I can't see anything. It's like, okay, that's the player comms, Sometimes it's just like your general casual rank stack where it's like, I can't see anything, or I didn't realize this, like my bad, whatever. It's not always a perfect world. Funny things happens in the server sometimes, like in the voice comms, that is. You miscommunicate, etc. Mistakes, they are prone to happen at any level of play. So it's always fun and cute to kind of see. I wish, like in a perfect world, that every single team would speak the same language. That way anyone could understand each other. I said yesterday in our other cast that I wish I could listen to LATAM teams, like fully understand what they're saying, because I would be very intrigued to hear how they communicate and operate.
Just learn Portuguese. First kill of the second half goes to Tyrant. Lobs a nade up, and from below, Ray is blown sky high. You talk about gadget persistence, more persistent gadgets. I mean, I suppose you've got some gadgets that can be quite persistent. You ever have to deal with an enemy drone? Anyway.
Okay.
Those frost mats will still exist. The deployable shield will likely still exist. All things that are available for the defenders are not gone because the frost perished. Logic bomb goes off. Can another be secured? Solitov has been losing a lot of these duels to Pecan as of late, but the second weapon for MNM is still operational. And Uses can refrag his teammate. Half the round gone. Ooh, Harambe just toying with East right now.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Oh.
Just narrowly missing out, and he gets caught. I don't think he knows exactly where he was getting shot from. Noah will secure with a Rotero drone from Flores.
Whee!
That's disrespectful. He almost got out of the way.
I respect Nilo so much for playing it so passively. There's no reason to walk up to the window, take the risk, maybe get traded back. Just use your gadget, play it slow. You got time, right? Nilo, such a stable player from MNM, just always staying alive, doing his job, etc. Right place, right time, doing all the boring, if you will, drone work. Such an important role for any team.
4v2. When it comes to opening picks, MNM led the way. They got 3 opening picks, 4 technically if you consider that one was a trade. Despite that, they weren't able to win all of the rounds. No real objective play either. It was just a full-out brawl in that first half. Speaking of objective play, Nello beginning the defuse process, and Jackie Wu has no shortage of bullets to engage with. Down goes Nello, but Nave has his teammates back. Souffle removed from action. Jackie Wu, last man standing. No, there's a Capcan trap, but it's Nave to take him out. Jackie Wu not long for this earth. Does it count technically because the side swap? But either way, MNM have now won 2 rounds in a row. One coming on attack, and now the second on defense. And MNM have their first lead here on border.
Very surprised to see the plant spot choice for MNM here. I mean, it's extremely risky with no full armory control, and Jackie Wu punishes it quite well. 1 kill into an injury. It kills the third member inside of Beepers as well. But eventually, MNM have too many bodies, even for that all-day LMG. 80 bullets can't stop them. It was very, very close. Captain, of course, did a nice bit of work there as well as Pecan playing it last round. Souffle this one. As Pecan has changed onto the mirror instead, as we're gonna go downstairs on the floor into the ventilations bomb site. Whereas previously we were on the armory one. It plays out similarly though, because as you see, there are more members above than below trying to hold that top portion of the map. The question is, which walls and hatches get reinforced? So that's gonna play out right now. Also, where do the Capcan traps go? Because dying to that early would do a ton of damage to your Operator economy.
Operator economy, that's not a thing.
That is a thing. No, yeah, that's how many operators you have, right? Economy. So you have like gadget economy. You have operator
That's just your line. Oh, that's just your team, man.
You would totally get what I meant out of context. You totally.
I mean, like, yeah, your operator. Like, I get what operator economy means.
Yeah.
I just think it's a clunky term.
It's a clunky term.
But sometimes clunky's good.
Sometimes clunky can be good. What has been happening in the last, or rather has not been happening in the first minute is no one's really going fast on border. On Kafe, we had a couple of rounds that really took a wild spin. For the most part here, the first minute is purely the attackers trying to reach the building without getting spawn peeked. Then the following minute is, you know, a kill or two goes in one way or another, or a trade. And then the last minute, a lot of things really start occurring very quickly. Now the thing for MNM, they've drawn out this office position on the map. They see that it's relatively clear, but Jacko is down below with a ton of verticality, assisting Pecan, the single member upstairs of office. Once you choose one angle or like one side of the map, east or west, you tend to have to stick to it as an attacker. You have time to rotate around constantly left and right.
Slow round in comparison to what we've seen from both of these teams on both Kafe and on Border. MNM want that top floor so desperately. Harambe seems to be the one that's lurking right now. Down below, not in a position to really make any serious noise. Solotov droning himself in, upstairs on balcony. Top floor looks to be relatively secure, at least on the eastern portion of the map. That's up by Office. But you've got to still confront that armory hold that Direwolves have not given off just yet. Ray shot through the soft wall. That's a tough position to be in. Will lose the Black Mirror. Souffle's not too far off, but he's also lost some of the area inside of security. MNM closing their hands around this prize. Damage done to Nafe as Ray fires back. As the Doc, he'll be able to give himself a bit more sustain. Down to Nafe. First kill goes to MNM.
But this isn't the bomb site. It's down in ventilation, so this top floor control doesn't matter that much.
Another pick from MNM comes in. Nitro Cell expended by DW. They were mighty good with them on Kafe. Not the case on Border. All this focus from MNM upstairs, but you got to translate it to the bomb site. They seem to be doing it quite well. 2 kills and Jackie Wu will follow. First pick for Direwolves comes out and make it 2. Suddenly, Pecan and Harambe are in and they are doing serious work. But with just a couple seconds left, MNM need to get the diffuser down and actually scratch that. Record scratch. Because they get the kill instead. 3 in a row for MNM. They're storming their way towards ending this matchup.
It's fine. I can agree control. We didn't have a lot of time left. If they do that shit again, we should need to be a bit quicker. Yeah.
The problem is I'm droning my whole side and holding flank for the whole round. So I was literally...
That Valk is such a dumb cunt.
Is there a big jump for the armory wall?
What'd you say?
Is there a big jump armory wall?
No, there wasn't that round.
Yeah, you see the check that's been asked, right? Was there mid jam on the armory wall? No, not that round, etc. Just kind of figuring out what the situations are for Direwolves, and also MNM speaking about how slow they were, right? You gotta speed things up for this following round. They're recognizing the problems and speaking about them. So it's a short moment of celebration for a round clutch, essentially, with a stellar performance as a team in the last 30 seconds, but also recognizing that they could do a lot better and that things didn't really go the way they expected in that round.
Nice to hear the comms come out for them.
10 seconds left.
No timeout taken so far as I'm aware.
5 seconds remaining.
I don't believe so, nope.
Not that we have seen and not that we have been informed of.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Direwolves still have an opportunity to settle things down and get their heads in the game, but...
Glass?
Glass, Capitown, Nomad, and Nook.
Teller's window rush, question mark? That's what this signifies, and Capital is there. Claymore's being put down. I mean, yeah, there's gonna be a window rush, smoke, glass covers. A single C4, if they actually go for this, gonna completely destroy this strategy. Now, there's no Ying. Normally, you would apply Ying here, a Lion as well. Bathroom drone, so Pecan here has a C4 inside a bathroom. He can shut down this entire take with that C4.
Look at the opening that's created upstairs in that armory position. Solotov has been apprehensive. Got a drone up there. I suspect a mute jammer might be the reason why they have not been able to drone it out just yet. The prevalence of Frost in these matchups mean that you always need to be looking down, and Solotov is going to come really close! Goodness gracious, the Nitro Cell goes down, but so does the Diffuser. A minute and 10 seconds into this matchup, and MNM have control of the bomb site. But DW are firing back. Down goes Souffle. Nello will join, but on the opposite side of the equation, Tyrant needs to get into position. Now it's Pecan taking some damage. Nafe doesn't have any air jabs left. They'll need to wait to play off of this angle, and it's a long-range shot for Tyrant on the run-out, but it's Nafe to get him. If a jump-out happens, that's where Tyrant is good for. In a 1v2, he hears the Diffuser being worked on. There's Pecan to fall. He sees the body of Jackie Wu. The Oryx can sprint on out, but you only have a second left. The vault out is there, but MNM gets the job done. 4 rounds now for MNM. They're on series point.
I'm actually mentally like that. He's probably not in from my window. I'm like, I just didn't shoot back here.
Nah, that meat is so shit, man. I have to be harsh. I have to be.
Oh, man. He goes, the Valkyrie is prone on the floor, and I'm just not shooting back. I mean, we saw the setup there beautifully from MNM. They had the Capita on the glass, where they execute on the window and the repel. They go in deep, they avoid the C4, nicely done. And the one thing they have going for them, which is a big difference maker, is that they actually had Nuke on Passport, creating distraction and disturbance, while having the buck of, I believe, Solotov going ventilation window, also winning his 1v1 gunfight against his opponent. So while they were executing on the bomb side, there is still things going on across the map that DW, they have to respect and care about. And that is a big deal, because otherwise, you might just have 5 members of DW sprint back towards the bomb side and shut down that plant. And if the plant does not go down, MNM should lose the round as well. But the post plant is so strong. You can see it from the window, outside the building, Claymores to the jump out, crossfire, etc. And they executed that 2 versus 3 or 2 versus 4 just the way they had to. Now they're staring down match point. And one of the things about getting rushed, like Direwolves just did, is that now you have to fear for this happening again. You have to be like, okay, we need to extend out the map, roam, hold map control, but we just got rushed. It could happen again. We also gotta stay a little bit close to the bomb site to be very quick to react if something were to happen like that previous round.
Update from the mainstream if you haven't been tuning in over on twitch.tv/Rainbow6. The first match between Wolves and Sonics is over.
Okay.
A relatively quick one. However, they did start about 15 minutes before us.
Yeah.
And yet, we're almost finished too. It's not over. I mean, Direwolves definitely could claw it back, but MNM Gaming are putting in the same performance right now against Direwolves they did against Wolves yesterday in the EUL Finals not too long ago. If you want to know who won the Wolves versus Sonics matchup, feel free to go over to the main channel, Google it, go on to r6esports.com. I believe has all the information about the Six Invitational as well. That's not the start you want for Direwolves. Goodbye, Harambe. First pick goes to MNM. 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the round.
It's a quick one. Different change of pace here. Nafe on Gridlock without the smoke grenades. Bit of an odd one out. We don't really see this Arbiter being played, and especially not without the smokes in pocket. But either way, it doesn't look like they're gonna go for a rush execute this time. Just a fast entry, get that advantage, and then get out and play the numbers.
There's some predictive frost mats put down by Ray in areas that, hoping you'll catch one of the MNM players off guard, one of which was at the top of main stairs. The teams will trade out now, but still the advantage holds for MNM. Ray taking some damage, but so is Yuzis, and so is Solotov. The carries for MNM. Solotov missing an opportunity to remove Pecan from the fray. Now it's Tyrant taking some damage.
What?
He re-peeks, but then doesn't. A bit of a confusing one. Solotov knows that he's got him in the corner. Reposition, maybe.
You want the bomb site, right? You know there's 2 members now in security and break room. Only 1 member on the bomb site. Could be a fast one for MNM, or just take your time. You got a minute and 10 to work with.
Oh, he doesn't understand Souffle's position at all.
That's clear.
Very brazen over towards office, but guess what? Nello's found the opportunity, but a bit too excitable. Souffle with a 4K keeps his team alive. That's the stuff.
Nello unfortunately caught sprinting when he had no business doing so. The bomb set was completely clear, and MNM with communication could have basically figured that out because, you know, Frost is in security, challenging Solotov. Valkyrie close, so that's 2 members. Solotov then dies east stairs to a mirror. There's only 3 members out of defense. That means all 3 locations are known. Bomb site entirely given up by the defending team of Direwolves. MNM, they don't get to capitalize, and Souffle, he punishes. Great effect.
There's a bit too much haste there from MNM. You still have to respect your opponents, right? Like at the end of the day.
Located by attackers.
Absolutely. Always. Always. Solotov gonna go from Ash to Nuke. Get more grenades in your pocket, more destruction. Or, if you really wanted to, you get secondary EMPs, now like her or the Dokkaebi. Pikan gonna go onto the Solis. We have not seen Solis played much on border so far, having 2 or 3 rounds max now combined. Whereas Oryx and Doc, they're seeing more and more play as time is progressing here.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Really impressed by Souffle, but also,
reloading.
As much as you can be impressed by one person, I think you also have to cast a little bit of blame on MNM. They didn't drone that portion of the map. They didn't play off each other for that portion of the map. They just tried to storm right in. That's exactly what MNM did against DW at the start of Kafe, and how did that work? It didn't.
It did not. Seems like a similar approach. Solotov, he owns this area of the map, just holding on. Tyrant on the roof, droning out archives on top floor. Trying to see what the openings might be. MNM not really the ones to force anything the last round and a half. They're just kind of waiting for something to be happening. Maybe expecting some aggression here from DW, which it is lurking. And it might just be approaching. Wallbang almost goes out onto Solotov, but it gets away. Alive. The gadget here, we can see the Claymore is being put down. The run out is going to be denied, or at least known about now.
I still think he goes for it.
I think he goes for it too.
I still think he goes for it, and there we have it. Oh, he gets one, but cannot connect for more than that. This is what we like to see. These cheesy plays that can come in that are enabled by a Solus being on the board. Solotov is gone. It's timeout for Direwolves, seemingly working. They won that round. They surrendered the first pick right after their timeout. Oh. Nello was just in, by the way. MNM picking up 2 very quick kills, and now it's Nave with Diffuser in hand, getting it down. Musis will need to cover. Souffle killed from above. The coverage from Musis seemingly good enough, but now Nave needs to get out of there. Does he have the time to do so? Apprehensive. He's unsure of where best to go. Still 2 players up from DW. Jackie Wu at 13 kills, sitting on the Diffuser right now. And Nave hears it. Logic bombs go off, and Nave should hear 2 separate players. Uses, has them lined up. It's Pecan to try and save the match, but he can't do it. No salvaging there whatsoever. MNM, their first 2 days, they don't drop a single map.
It's clean. 2-2-0s essentially for them. And I will say Direwolves, despite that really wonky Kafe attacks, looked looked very good in their defense rather, and throughout all of border. Not a team to be slept on at all. Things to work through, unfortunate roster situation as well, making the most of it of course, and showing up against MNM is something you can be proud of.
Hugs all around for MNM. Direwolves had some signs of brilliance, especially on Kafe, and then they started strong on border as well, but ultimately just couldn't play catch up to the more experienced team. The fact that Direwolves are attending this event with 2 players who got added in last minute under circumstances that might not have been their choice is incredible, frankly. I think it's very impressive. And while this is a tough group, Group B obviously very much up in the air still, depending, of course, on what happened in the other matchup, which we're not going to spoil the results of. Direwolves still have a couple days to try to make whatever recovery is possible. APAC has surprised us before against some of the best teams when everybody looks at the region and says, well, this is a learning opportunity for them.
Also, this was Dial's first game that yesterday off. So this is also, you know, the first stage jitters, etc. This is the first time on stage here playing. So now they're warmed up. Now they've done it. Now it's just to move forward.
So they've got a couple more days to try and escape the group in the right direction, because there will be some teams leaving the groups in the wrong direction. All that said, that's it for our very first matchup here on Stream B. We've got 3 more best of 3s coming up. We don't want to waste your time at all. Sit tight. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Welcome back, friends, to Six Invitational 2023. It's crazy to believe that all of this started in 2017, and we are at yet another edition of the World Championship of Rainbow Six. So we have our winners for our second game of today, MNM versus Dire Wolves. It's MNM that take the W 2-0. Sorry, APAC South casters, but you know what? Another L for the region.
But another dub for MNM, who have now taken down the Wolves and the Dire Wolves. So
the whole pack.
Yeah, the whole pack dispatched with pretty easily.
That was pretty cool, though. I'm really impressed by MNM. They look like a very refined team coming into this SI. I was pretty worried for them at the beginning because they sort of don't really change their ways. MNM have their way of doing things, and I was really excited to see what they could bring to SI, and they've put a lot. It's exciting.
Did you just say refined and MNM in the same sentence?
Yes.
If you told me that in the past year, I would say, no way, being cuckoo. But as someone who sat down and watched the games, like, yes, that's 100% true. I think MNM are in the place that we expect Wolves to be in, like Wolves Esports, their EU counterparts, but MNM are pulling it off. And I don't know how they're so activated in the server, James.
Well, it's kind of a trajectory for both of these teams. One of them, MNM, has been going up and up and up. All year, they've been somewhat consistently making these events, but not consistently performing at them. They bring on Nath, and they manage to knock out Wolves in the EUL finals. Everything's looking fine and dandy. On the flip side, Dire Wolves have been going down, 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 down for the last 2 months. They've only had a very short amount of time to practice with this new roster. So I think when you match those two things together, it's no surprise that MNM are the favored team and can win fairly dominantly 2-0.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting times for MNM in general. I think another thing that I'm interested in is the addition that Nath has brought into this roster. You spoke about it a little bit earlier on the pre-show, but I think in this matchup in particular, it was super evident in the way that they were playing their macro strategy. I think the way that MNM were able to play their active intel, especially on Kafe, and then transition over into the attack, and they had these really informed attacks and really well put together executes. I can only imagine that the innovation of an extra mind, an extra bit of leadership can bring to the team.
Yeah, and let's focus on those maps. You know, take it one at a time. You mentioned Kafe Dostoyevsky is still a 7-4 for MNM. There was a time, especially in the beginning, where we're thinking, 4 rounds on defense for Dire Wolves. That's not bad. That's actually 4-2 at the half. 4 rounds for the defense is the expected performance.
I mean, there can be Dire Wolves haters out there, but you can't deny that those first 4 rounds on Kafe looked exceptionally good for Dire Wolves. This is a map that they haven't played in 9 months. They come in the first 4 rounds, they win all 4 of them on 4 different bomb sites. So clearly this is something that Dire Wolves have been practicing. It's an MNM map pick, so credit to Dire Wolves. But following that, MNM really brought the power. They won their 2 attacks to make it par for the course. And from then on, it was a pretty cut and dried story. Dire Wolves just could not hack it on the attack.
Yeah, I think once again, to reiterate, both of these teams actually played very similar defense strategies. Both of them really leaned into that combo of like the Pulse, Mirror, and like Valkyrie to try and inform C4s, try and inform what kind of runouts and gunfights they wanted to take. But then when it came to the attack, MNM was super good in the late game. Both the executes that they were able to pull off were really, really clean, whereas Dire Wolves, when they went onto their attack, it looked a lot more messy.
Did somebody check Solotov's PC?
Good point.
Somebody check in PC. The man went 16-6 across the first map, and that's 5-0 on entry. Didn't even die entry once, and he was incredibly consistent. He is the #1 rated player in the whole of Six Invitational so far. Not only having a fantastic performance today, but also yesterday against Wolves. He has really carried MNM forward. Not to say that the rest of the team hasn't been stepping up as well.
It's the Middle Eastern food.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Turkish food.
It's delicious. It's delicious, and it's certainly the fuel for champions.
Still, shawarma is better than kebab, but whatever.
Let's not get controversial, Milosh.
I have my own Lebanese biases. What can I say? But that was map #1 in the series. Once we went to our second one, things also got a bit close, but it still went the way of MNM. And I want to wrap up our first map just with these bans, because we talked about it earlier with Demo and Ollie, and it was also about that Solus ban. Because of how effective the operator, our newest operator in the rotation, is, teams are just, you know what? We don't want to play against an operator that can see all of the gadgets in a game that's all about gadgets.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think not just the Solus ban, but the combination of the Solus and Azami ban meant that on the defense, because your early game isn't as strong as it would be in the current meta. Instead, both these teams leaned into that mid to late game intel where they were playing the Pulse, informing C4s through the mid rounds, right? Or they were using the Mirror to hold stagnation points instead, right? In comparison to playing that early game with the Fortress with the Azami and then trying to deny info early with the Solace. And I think that was informed by the bans on that map.
Big impact operator this game was definitely that Pulse. Not only did Harambe have 2 great rounds where Harambe, not a star player typically, but he had a fantastic 1v3 clutch at the start of the game. He also had a great impact with Pulse, and I believe it ended up in a 1v1 clutch later. But also from MNM, can't remember who was playing it, but a nice little Pulse cardiac sensor from inside of Dining. Valkyrie throwing an impact on the garage wall. The Pulse jumps out, and it's just perfect distraction to try and get an early pick onto a player repelling. Just a lot of ways that in the micro, MNM and Direwolves as well use these little niggles to their advantage.
Pulse and Valkyrie on Kafe playing Nitro Souls. Are we back in 2018?
Maybe we are.
As Kix would say, the more things change, the more they say the same. And he would always use the specific word, God rest his soul, cyclical. It's a cyclical meta, Milosh, or Kusan, as they would say. What a wonderful way of putting it. But on map 2, went to border a 7-4 again for MNM. We saw Jackie really popping off.
Yeah, I think so as well. For the Direwolves attack, I was really impressed by the way they were able to play that trio entry. It was Jackie, Souffle, and Pika. That was the OG Direwolves trio, and all of them were playing the entry ops. They were on Ashe, Iana, Sledge, all your like self-sufficient enabling entries, and they were really making waves through the building. But the downfall of that was that they were super susceptible to flanks. We saw Solotov 2 or 3 rounds in a row on that Oryx, able to jump through hatches, and I suppose that's just the nature of those attacks, right? Because it's not a sweep, because it's not like super methodical 1, 2, 3. Your drones are a bit more forward in the map. You can't really afford to have those flank drones. And I think as soon as the Direwolves got sort of caught up in that attack, once they swapped over to their defense, I think the MNM were just a little bit more put together on their attacks. They were a little bit more careful.
I gotta say, I'm really impressed by how MNM played this map. This is their second most banned map. They don't play border. We've talked about how Nath comes from a very border-heavy team, and he's likely brought a little bit of more fruit into their border play. I think that's definitely what was at play here. But also, keep in mind the context. Going into border, MNM, you just won 7 rounds in a row on Kafe. You're feeling good about yourself. Solotov isn't afraid to jump up hatches with Oryx and go for these flanks. Pika, who is the 8th best player in 2022 at this event, he was completely shut down at the start of this game.
I mean, he shut himself down that one.
Well, yeah, I was going to mention that, Nade. Pretty embarrassing moment. He did find his feet a little bit, as you said, but it was really the Solotov and Tyrant game here.
I'm going to harp on a little bit about Solotov as well, because it wasn't just Solotov on the Oryx. It was really informed. When you listen to the comms there over there in the production room, it's really exciting. You've got Nello, who's playing that Pulse and is saying, Solotov, there's one there. There's one in the hallway. Jump up the hatch right now. And he goes up through 90 hatch and is able to find these flanks over and over again. And it's just so great to see how these star players on MNM are being enabled both on the attack and the defense.
Pretty impressive from the squad of MNM. And of course, for those that are watching out there, MNM are ahead. I mean, they have 2-0 wins, 8 points. They're tied with the Sonics. So for me, next time we see Sonics, they'll be playing MNM. That's around, what, 46 hours from now. I cannot wait to see the top 2 teams in that group, at least at this point, play up against one another, because that'll be an exciting one. MNM versus Liquid will be coming tomorrow. So we're still yet to see, you know, how Liquid actually really shapes up, because today is their day off. Direwolves will be coming in. 5 teams in one group is a bit difficult to schedule. Who would have thought? But making it happen.
Yeah, and look, MNM, I think that they've got what it takes to take on some of these big teams. They are absolutely informed. This roster change was a huge benefactor for them. And you just look, I've just double-checked, Solotov has the most kills in the tournament right now. He's about to break 50 kills, and we're only at day 2. Really impressive stuff. He's been well-renowned from within EU for quite some time, but he's always been on what is effectively a middle-pack team.
Sure.
I think this is going to be, if they can keep up this form, the event where MNM breaks through and finally makes it to their first playoffs.
I think the big thing about this MNM reform is that with Nath coming in, he's been able to fill the holes, in my opinion, in the MNM attacks and defenses as well. I think he brings just a lot of, I can see that this team needs these small things done in the server, and I will do them. The rest of you, go off and keep doing your thing. And I think it's really enabling talent like Tyrant and like Solotov to go off and just absolutely send it in the server. They deserve that, honestly. They're so good.
Speaking of Nathan, I just checked. He actually has the second highest KOST rating of every player at the event so far.
What's KOST? What's cost?
KOST is kill, objective, survival, trade. And for every round that you achieve one of those things, you get a point. And for every round you don't, well, no, wait, there's
Wait,
complicated
just
way of
added
explaining
it.
Can I just give up on explaining it, please?
Look, it just means
the percentage of rounds you achieve one of those things.
Exactly. The more you
Consistency.
do in every round, whether it be kill someone, assist in it, play the objective like plant or defuse, yada yada, or trade a kill or survive, you get extra points. And good boy points on it.
Good boy points. Sure. And get this, right? You got Nathan in second place in the tournament, Usus in third, Solotov in eighth, and Solotov, of course, is a record breaker in all the other categories as well. So MNM, they're so consistent.
So who do you think our MVP is? Production, hold it. Don't show it yet. We're asking.
Is there a cap here?
Is that like Solotov. A question? Like Solotov? Like,
bring it up.
Hello?
Guess who it is?
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Okay.
See the surprise?
We love giving attention to the support players.
Yeah, I
we love it. We respect that.
Support players, they love the attention, don't they? It's always like that. Well, I'm happy that Nath, who's N-A-T-H, changed his name to Nath after our EUL interview.
Triggers me.
Yeah, but here he is, 145 rating, pretty darn good. The average expected rating is set at 100, so anything above is pretty impressive. 145 is pretty good.
And man, if you're doing that on Castle and Gridlock, you are doing a lot of things right.
It's true.
This guy is a very impactful player, even finding himself in a couple of entry engagements, which is not what you'd expect for a support, for even a support flex player. So he's pretty versatile, and no doubt his vocalness is something that is highly valuable to the team as well.
Mandy, you mentioned that you're sitting by the production side, so you can really hear the teams as they're going. Is there anybody else that you feel is participating in ways that we can't really, I guess, explore as an extra dimension from watching it at home?
Nello. Nello's a big one for me, in my opinion. Not only is he the IGL, but he's also the captain of the team. And I think that MNM have a really great work culture. Like, listening to the way they interact with their org and just the way they're so friendly with each other, I think it's really important to have a player like Nello on that roster to pull everyone together. Not just that, but I think with Nath being on the roster, sort of filling in the holes strategically, it's allowed Nello to get more on the tactics side of things and work individually with some players. He's able to feed info with Pulse, for example. He's able to enable people with drones or something like that. I think it's just given him a lot more room to be more comfortable working as like a duo or trio with some of the players in the server.
Wow. What does our group look like? Let's put it up on the screen for you to see. We are still in our Group B. You see MNM at the top with 8 points, Sonics at 8. The round differential is not super important right now, but if you are tied in points, you'll have to go to, go to head-to-head and round differential. That might be the division. Team Liquid at, well, no points currently, because guess what? Everybody who's stolen a point from the others, MNM and Sonics. So Wolves, Liquid, and Wolves, the other ones. Sit with no points.
There's something against the rules. Can I ask you a question, Milosh?
Go ahead.
Who doesn't make it out of this group? Who do you think doesn't make it out of these teams?
Spicy.
Okay, I'll rephrase it.
Okay, you're going to throw it back on me again.
Hey. No, I'm not going to throw it back on you, but I'll give you another way, maybe one that's even spicier to say. Not just which of the Wolves, but who deserves to make it through, if you just had to pick.
Well, I will say this. Wolves have had 2 chances to get points. They've played 2 matches, and they haven't won a single map. Direwolves, on the other hand, this was their first match today. And of course, Direwolves, everyone would rate them below the actual Wolves, right? But are Wolves, the real Wolves, the European Wolves, facing like an existential crisis right now that they won't be able to recover from?
I'll make it even simpler. Can we bend the rules and just make it where the top 3... Oh, you know what? MNM and Sonics make it out of the group. Now, I know there's only one that's supposed to be eliminated, but I'll bend the rules. Okay. A bit here and there.
What about Team Liquid?
It's all right. You know what? Just for you, Mandy, we'll make it 3.
Oh, lovely.
Because it's your birthday.
Oh, fantastic.
It is
It's your birthday yesterday. Come on. Get over it.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, she was standing there the whole day saying, "Do you guys want cake?
Yeah,
do you guys want cake?" And you're like, "What do you mean? Do you guys want cake?" No, thank you very much for asking, but not really. And apparently that was supposed to be like the dog whistle of.
It's a classic. I'm asking you if you want cake because I want you to get me cake because it's my birthday, but I'm not going to tell you.
No, I got myself cake.
Cool. Andy, what's your favorite cake?
For you.
Cheesecake. I love cheesecake.
Any sort of very specific one?
New York cheesecake.
Oh, classic.
What about, do you like a side of Molotovs and marshmallows with your cheesecake?
No, what is this? You turned a New York cheesecake into like.
I'm just trying to link
an Ohio cheesecake. What is this?
I'm just trying to talk about Rainbow Six.
Are you Midwesting
trying to do
the
like a
cheesecake?
culinary school or something? I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to make that joke because you will turn this into a cooking stream if you're allowed to.
That is absolutely true. I am terrible with desserts, though. Anyways, speaking of desserts, you may have one at the moment, just as a thank you for watching the stream. Thank you very much, James and Mandy. We'll take a break, and when we come back, which will be in around 20 or so minutes, we'll get things ready for Stream A and B so we can launch both games, the second games of our Playdate. See you in a moment.